Start of the season, Jonathan Clase hits it out for a 3-run shot.
It's all gas, no brakes.
Can he become a Swiss icon here? It's all over! Switzerland are going to the quarterfinal of the World Cup, and they've got a date with Lionel Messi at Argentina in Kansas City.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, 7:02 in Edmonton. Hope you're doing well out there. Lovely summer day ahead of us. It is the Tom Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365. Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick in studio with us today. Join the conversation as always, 1-833-401-1440. We want to hear from you. Thoughts on the world of sports. Oilers, sure. Elks, yeah. World Cup, definitely. Blue Jays win. Wow, that's great. Let us know your thoughts on anything that's going on in the world of sports as part of the conversation. It's a beautiful thing. That's why we do this. Hopefully making your drive to work, or maybe you're going on vacation somewhere, a little bit more entertaining. We're here for you, as I like to think. Of course, the Tom Gazzola Show brought to you by Bet365. At the World Cup, subs are important when their number's called. They can change the game instantly. What they shouldn't be able to change, though, is your bet. Thanks to Bet365 sub on, play on. When a player you bet comes off, their sub stats count towards your bet. Learn more at Bet365. That's kind of clutch, actually. If you like to dabble, put a little sprinkle on some games here and there. Maybe build your own parlays, if you will. Maybe hop on one of the Jason Greger Show bets that he puts together. Fantastic. That's great. Remember, don't go too crazy. But yeah, great to have Bet365 on board. Good morning, Brandon. Are you doing okay over there? I'm just checking in.
No, I'm doing great, Tom.
Okay,
good morning. Good morning. Good
Hello.
morning to everyone tuning in as well. Some big clouds on the horizon this morning made for a pretty sunrise.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't even check the forecast. I assumed it was still going to be hot, but I don't know if there's a chance of some showers rolling in.
Always.
Get them out of the way so we get all clear for tomorrow night down at Commonwealth. That's the approach I'm taking.
Yes, I like that very much. I would appreciate that very much. Talking to the players, coaching staff yesterday, getting ready for the game against the Red Blacks, they all said the same thing. No more rain, please. No more rain. I think everybody would agree in this part of the world because it has been sloppy and wet and miserable for a good chunk of June and then a little bit into July. And if we can keep the rain at bay for a few days, that would be wonderful. All right, we've got a great show for you. Stephen Meehan, Rugby Canada's head coach. Canada taking on Portugal this Saturday at Clark Stadium. So we'll touch base with him. They faced off against Spain on over the weekend. 42-42 tie. A hard-fought match, and we'll get his take on what his team was able to accomplish the other day. Spain took the lead like 3 or 4 times. Canada caught up each time. Canada eventually took a lead, and Spain caught up, and then the match ended in a deadlock at 42. So we'll get his thoughts on that. And then the match coming up this weekend. And that's a doubleheader, by the way. If you're interested in going down to Clark Stadium, you get, I think Tonga is in action against Spain. And then you will get Canada versus Portugal. And then the teams make their way to Winnipeg and play the final leg of this, final game of this leg. And then they'll play that at Princess Auto Stadium. I wonder how many fans they'll get there. But at Clark, looked like a decent turnout. Weather was, iffy. For most of it, seemed okay. And then hopefully whoever's going down to Clark Stadium on Saturday, hopefully things are good. We'll also hear from Spec. We'll ask him if he thinks his Friday's going well. Because he said yesterday, happy Thursday to everyone. That was very nice of him. Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times will also join us. And then Michael Grange, obviously lots to talk about with the Raptors. Great press conference for Kyle Lowry, who's now a part owner of the Toronto Tempo of the WNBA, is part of this announcement yesterday with his retirement as a Raptor. Vince Carter barged in on the press conference. That was interesting. He said hello to everybody. It was very cordial and friendly of him. And then Gord Stellick, former GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, of course, from NHL Network Radio over on Sirius XM. That's our list of guests. Fantastic as always. And then we always want to incorporate you into the show. So hit us up on the text line. The Blue Jays won yesterday. I lamented about how poorly they had been playing, the lack of offense. They popped yesterday. 9-3 win in San Fran. It is San Fran, a struggling franchise right now, or team, having a tough year, but the Jays prevailed, and that's good. And then some magic from O'Hearn, Ryan O'Hearn. I don't know if you caught this. 10 RBI game for the Pirates, 3 jacks, 2 3-bombers, and a grand slam. Huge day for O'Hearn in a big win for the Pirates. The Buccos with the 12-4 decision over the Atlanta Braves. That was great. And then, of course, the World Cup was crazy. Argentina moves on. Egypt very upset with the reffing. No surprise there. All you heard at the end of the match from the Egyptian side was not fair, not fair. And they would say it in English, and then they would go on and say it in Egyptian. And there was controversy. VAR had to be used. Argentina was down 2-0. Egypt was looking really good. And then 3 goals in the last 13 minutes, I believe it was. And the winning goal coming in the 90th +2. So an injury time. And Argentina is punching its ticket to the quarterfinals in very dramatic fashion, much to the chagrin of the Egyptian side. And then the other game we saw yesterday at the World Cup, Switzerland over Colombia, and that one needed penalties. And so some drama in Vancouver. And then, as Brandon was saying, congratulations, you're going to Kansas City for your quarterfinal matchup, which is interesting. And I say that because you're playing in wonderful cities like LA, but there's glitz and glamour. They're in New York/New Jersey. You're playing in a really nice stadium in Atlanta. And then you get to go to Kansas City, which is fine. It's a great stadium. And Brandon says he's been to Kansas City quite a bit. I've been there once. But isn't it a bit odd, Brandon?
It's a little odd to me.
Right.
Like as you said, the city itself, and it comes across as a slight at KC, and I guess in some roundabout way, I suppose it is when you compare it to the likes of Los Angeles, Boston, Miami, New York / East Rutherford, New Jersey. Great. The stadium is iconic, legendary at what we know as Arrowhead, what is denoted as Kansas City Stadium for the course of this World Cup. But great downtown, Power and Light District, awesome place to go watch games, catch drinks. It's almost a little plaza there. They circle up to watch plenty of Chiefs games and Royals games, I'm sure. But yeah, I wouldn't put the overall impression of Kansas City, Mizzou up against some of those other cities that I named. And I get it, because as these games get more critical, and we're obviously into quarterfinal action now starting in the next games, the capacity of the stadium matters a lot. So that pretty much rules out Toronto as a spot to continue hosting any games. But why would all of a sudden you just immediately eliminate the likes of Mexico City and Vancouver, who have been unreal hosts? The scenes at these places has been excellent. Obviously last night's or yesterday afternoon's, I should say, game between Switzerland and Colombia that went to penalties. The drama was off the charts good. And what a send-off for it. And you kind of saw them on TSN do the sign-off from, I think, Jack Pool Plaza. That's what it's called out there. So, and the set right out on the looking out on the water, just unbelievable. So I would have loved to see BC get another game, and I probably would have loved to see Mexico City get another game, because as we roll down the list here, like, we know that the quarterfinal games are going to be played in these spots in order, starting tomorrow. Boston, so Foxborough, SoFi, Hard Rock in Miami, and Arrowhead. And then the semis are in Dallas and Atlanta, and then the final back in Miami.
That's
am I looking at two?
No, the final isn't the final New York. New Jersey?
Finals in New York. You're right. This must be third place game. Excuse me. Third place game is in Miami. Right. So Miami gets a quarterfinal game, and they get a third place game. Do they need both?
Probably not.
And I don't know. This is obviously some Canadian bias playing in. America hosted how many games compared to the other two countries combined over the course of the past month?
The majority.
I get it.
Yeah.
But spread the love.
Kansas, you're right. Like, we're not trying to slight Kansas City. Arrowhead's a legendary stadium, or Kansas City Stadium, whatever they're calling it for the World Cup, because you can't have like branding on it. But there are other options that might have been more enticing.
Let's just take the Canadian bias and share the love bias altogether.
Okay.
What about going back to like Houston? And maybe it's because they're playing the other game at Jerry's World, right? It's the bigger stadium. It's the crowning jewel, but Energy in Houston's a pretty nice spot. They obviously they played the other France beat Paraguay in their round of 16 game in Philly. So even Seattle, where the United States just played their last game, any of those three spots, I would expect to curry a little more favor than KC. And it's just purely from a city perspective.
Yes.
Size, metro area, all those factors.
Yes.
So it's nothing against KC. Like I said, I love it there. But I was surprised to stumble upon that information in literally just pulling the highlights from the Switzerland game. So surprising.
Damo chiming in via the text line 1-833-401-1440 if you want to get in on the conversation. Says the Americans put up more money, so they got more games. And you know what?
Of course.
Not surprising.
And like I said, I get why we don't get any more games. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there were other American city options. You could have why did Kansas City not just get one of these round of 16 games and Philly or Houston or Seattle get one of the quarterfinal games?
Right.
Just my opinion.
If you want to be positive about it, good for Kansas City. That's a great get.
And hey, maybe some more of because it's part of one of my favorite parts of the World Cup over the past month has been the online presence of foreigners in America for the first time. And if it's not for the first time, to some of these lesser known cities, right?
Yes.
Like it's not just New York and LA that they're visiting. So to see a whole bunch of Swiss and Argentinians maybe, pour into Kansas City for the first time in their respective lives, get to try out some KC barbecue.
Amazing, by the way.
It's awesome. So there'll be plenty of positives to pull out of this. Don't get me wrong. And the two like Switzerland, I think, has suddenly now become they're a good team and have been for a long time. But when you look at the other names remaining, I don't think they quite fit in with the likes of Morocco, France, Spain, Argentina, England. And then like Belgium came in with high hopes. They had a poor tournament until they beat the United States. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about Norway as kind of the new, feel good thing, but they have one of the best players in the world. Yep. So I don't know if we're that surprised to see them in the quarterfinals either.
Every meme is Holland when I doom scroll.
It's clearly because of me liking all of them. My Instagram feed is all just Holland clips, parodies, memes. It's dominated by the Viking. And I'm not mad at it because he's been one of my favorite things to watch so far.
Man, he's a beast, simply put. Some wonderful entertainment and drama at the World Cup. Obviously, controversy. It's expected. I mean, it's a soap opera, essentially. And this World Cup has lived up to that. I know there was a lot of concern and a lot of griping about the ticket prices and the hydration breaks, which is totally an American thing that was implemented for this World Cup to add commercials. And a lot of European nations were like, nah, we're not coming over. Screw it. There obviously have been a lot of people from those other countries and that said, we're going to come and check out America. And indulged in the American cuisine that they maybe hadn't had before. My personal favorite, the Japanese man trying Texas barbecue for the first time, and the size of the portions, and the slathered rib that he had full of barbecue sauce, and just the amazement and sheer joy that you could see on his face as he bit into that huge chunk of Texas beef or pork. And he was just blown away by it. But yeah, it's actually, I think it's gone better than anticipated. So yes, there have been some dark clouds over this World Cup. There always is over each World Cup. And then there's also been some amazing action on the pitch, as well as some good memories. So overall, I think it really has been a positive World Cup. Bunch of texts have come in. Buck75 says men's soccer training center in KC, I believe. That's Mike outside of Yale. And that's good. Yeah. And if there's a connection to soccer and the national team, and maybe that's what helps them get one of these quarterfinal games, that makes sense. Okay. And it's not like Kansas City Stadium, Arrowhead. Was it Gaia Field when they play? Gia, sorry. It's pretty big. You pack it in. It's got all the amenities you need, lots of space in and around it. So logistically, it works. It's just, yeah, it's not a big city, and it's not as easy to get to as some of those other destination cities. So, but good for Kansas City. And maybe Luke and Cowtown, or sorry, that was Buck75 is right. Maybe the national program having its training center there helps. Luke in Cowtown says, probably missing that Casey paid the most money to FIFA. Dollar bills over logic every time. Touche, Luke in Cowtown. That is very true when it comes to FIFA, the IOC, and other governing bodies of sport and other areas of the world, if you will. Yeah. We'll get into it. We'll have fun. We'll discuss. And I think we're in for a good show. Day 3 for me. We're getting through we got through the technical stuff, or did we problem solve?
This morning?
The Wi-Fi?
Oh, no, the Wi-Fi is defunct.
Benny's like, no.
This same problem occurred last week one day.
Last Monday.
And then Josh just left. He's like, well, I don't have any internet. I'm going home. No, he can obviously work from home, manning the streams and whatnot. But he basically went home for like 2 hours and then came back to do Fantasy Frenzy.
Okay.
With Donovan. So, because Declan was away doing Elks Nation, yada, yada, yada. I was a little confused by it. I told him to just turn on the hotspot on his phone, to which he said,
that's what I did.
He only has like 5 gigabytes of data, 4 gigabytes of data to last him an entire month.
Oof.
To which I said, what year are we living in? I didn't even know they offered. I didn't know they offered cell phone plans that had that little data on them in the year 2026.
You defend yourself.
My data plan has been a large point of contention for the last year. Like since I was an intern, when I worked on Low Tide Show, I was like, oh, well, I'm out of data. I only have the 4 gigs. And then people in the text line at the time were very nice. They're like, if I could share with you, I would. But now they're like, nice. Josh, just get a new plan.
Yeah.
With what money? Is my question.
Yeah, you're trying to save up just to take us out for a nice Chinese food buffet, a succulent Chinese meal.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
he owes us. He lost the bet.
I do owe you.
Then he endured some hardship in the fact his car blew up, so he had to get a new car, and we gave him some grace. But now,
yes.
But when is your cell phone contract up?
Oh, it's been up for a long time. Like. I just pay by the month. I don't pay for the phone anymore.
Wow.
I haven't paid for the phone for 2 years.
No,
that's how old we're talking.
Okay, but you don't need to get a new phone if you get a new plan.
No, but I need to get a new phone. This one, the battery, I've had this phone I'm 22, 6 years.
It's time.
I believe it's time, but also I don't want to get rid of it quite yet. It's done me well.
My final note on this, Tom just said he turned on his hotspot. Just latch on there before he notices. Get all 3 of your computers over here signed on.
Oh boy,
there are only 2 computers.
Oh, sorry.
And a monitor.
See what we can do. I'll be a team player. We do need to get to break. Before we do that, I'm going to go to King of Fort Nasty, who texts and says, "Good morning, fellas. Why did I not see Italy in this World Cup? Cheers, King of Fort Nasty. Let's not go there. Not that I really care about the Azzurri. They suck. They blew it again, simply put. So we hop on, as Italians, the Canadian bandwagon, I would think. At least I did. Not that I would ever not be on the Canadian bandwagon. And it was a wonderful journey for our Canadian men's side. That's my answer to you, King of Fort Nasty. Thank you for the text. Keep those coming in. 1-833-401-1440. We continue on here on the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365, right after this.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Think a quality golf cart is out of your budget? Think again. At the Golf Cart People, we have a fantastic selection of fully inspected, pre-owned carts starting at just $4,500. Choose from gas, electric, or lithium-ion power to fit your lifestyle. And the best part, every used cart comes with a 1-year warranty for total peace of mind. Why wait? Get the cart you've always wanted today. Visit the Golf Cart People. Find out more at golfcartpeople.com.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
The Tom Gazzola Show. Oiler insider and Jersey aficionado. Edmonton's sports leader. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
That's some new Rolling Stones. Considering they're like 90. Not a bad song. Sydney Sweeney's in the music video.
That's why Josh loves that song so much.
That's actually not bad. Good tune.
Oh, I like that.
Good choice.
Yeah. I think that was well done by the Stones to maybe introduce a new generation of folks that they're like, hey, this is pretty good. Where these guys come from? And as they find out, as you said, they're 100 years old.
The British Roman Empire. That's where they're from. That's how old they are. Welcome back. It's the Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. If you miss any part of the show, catch up by searching the Tom Gazzola Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon. Be sure to subscribe and select auto download so you never miss a second of the show. Tom Gazzola, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you on this lovely Wednesday. Lots to get to today. We've got a slew of great guests, of course. Lots of conversation about like hydration breaks, why it's happening at the World Cup. They should have had them in Qatar. If you're concerned about players' hydration, when the days that they were playing games were like 50 degrees Celsius and they had to build and incorporate into the new stadiums air conditioning units, even though they're open air. Listen, we can make excuses and defend FIFA for the hydration breaks. They're really just to add commercial spots in, essentially. But it's good that they hydrate. It's important, especially in the heat of Mexico, the southern United States. There was a heat wave, in the eastern part of the U.S. last week. So that's good. Hydrate. It's good for you. We do need to get to one thing. And a really sad day yesterday in the world of broadcasting in Canada. Sports impacted big time. Our good friends over at Sportsnet 960, Sportsnet 650, in Calgary and Vancouver. They lost their station yesterday in both cities. There were some news stations also shut down. My brother was a news anchor producer at City News in Calgary. He's out of a job. And it was all too familiar, boys, to what we went through at 1260. And Brandon, I know you were starting there, and we would work together from time to time. And you were just getting your feet wet in the industry. But that was chaos, and it was awful, and it created a million questions and all kinds of uncertainty, and we just went through it again yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty tough to see, and we've at this station alone since Gregor and company got things going a few years ago, like had the chance to interact with so many individuals from both those stations when they're guest with us on the show, and then there's just such a great talent or collection of talent and collection of people that it's always, you never like to see people lose their jobs, right? And in this fashion, it's just kind of another one of those conglomerates that we saw Rogers essentially buy the remainder of MLSE in the tune of about $4.6 billion, and then immediately in the afternoon, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're closing these two stations that broadcast sports. And listen, there were other stations and outlets affected in each of those respective cities as well, but relative to us as a sports station, those were kind of the most pertinent. And you hate to see it. And there's a lot of good people that or don't have a job here this morning.
Yep.
And I'm hoping, I'm optimistic that they'll land on their feet and find other ways to continue in their profession and their passion. Because as I said, we've had them on the show. They're great. They're great at what they do. And it's a shame to see it go down that way.
More outlets, competition in markets. Those are good things. Resources, places where you can go as someone that wants to get information, whether it's sports news or it's straight up what's going on around news-wise in your city, politically, anything like that. The more options, the better for the listener and the viewer. In this case, it's listeners. But I think the salt in the wound is the fact that, they're talking about paying billions of dollars to complete a purchase for a sports entity. And then, oh, by the way, we're gassing, I think 6 stations and hundreds of people are out of a job. But look at this shiny new toy we just bought. That's rough, man. And I get it. It's business. There are accountants that are telling the CEOs and the people running the big companies what makes the most money for them. And that's the decisions that end up being made is they cut the stations and the places that are, in their opinion, sucking money out of the profit. And it sucks, man. Yeah, my brother's affected by it. We went through it at 1260, and now crews in Vancouver and Calgary and other markets are dealing with it right now. Less places to get news and information. Awful. It's just another sad day in the broadcast world in our country. And I just want to send my best out to friends like Pat Steinberg down in Calgary, Logan Gordon, Art Factora, who's running 960. He helped get Hello Hockey on there. It was on down in Calgary. It was on in Vancouver as well. By the way, the final Hello Hockey of the season is coming up this Saturday from 10 to noon. We'll be live at local Southampton Common if you'd like to come join us. It will be on the air here on 1440. So just as an aside. But yeah, man, it's super rough. I remember, Brandon, I don't know how much you remember from that day and how many people were like contacting you, but my phone would not stop. And that morning was the morning I officially got possession of my condo.
Yeah, pretty brutal timing.
It was awful
on that front. And yeah, I had quite a few people reach out, which surprised me because I'd been there for a grand total of maybe like 7 days, and 5 of them were training, essentially. And I kind of just responded like, hey, appreciate you reaching out, but listen, your condolences are better directed elsewhere because I'm a practicum student. This really has no impact on me apart from disappointment because I, don't get to go in there and it eliminates a potential place to work one day. But yeah, thinking of guys like you and Gregor and Connor, Dusty and the whole morning show and Low Tide, you'd run down the list of people that were directly affected. And I sent out some messages to the people that I was a little more familiar with at the time and said, hey, this sucks.
Yeah.
But just like we're kind of reiterating here this morning, like the good people and the ones that, are that talented and have the right direction, they'll find a way to make it happen. And we were really lucky, and me speaking very personally, lucky that Jason launched this a matter of a few short months later in the collaboration with Stingray. So I would hope that there's something to maybe come down the line, because Vancouver and Calgary are really passionate sports markets.
Yeah.
And they love their hockey teams for sure. They love their CFL teams as well. Not to mention, just as we here enjoyed the Riverhawks and the Stingers and whatnot, they've got great local sports in different varieties too that deserve some love and some coverage. So hoping for the best, no doubt.
I think there will be things that come out of the ashes of the Sportsnet / Rogers fallout. I really hope so. There's, like you said, I'll reiterate and back you up on that. Great people there. And you're right. Gregor put this together here at 1440. It's turned into a very strong, very solid station, and it's a go-to. I'm very proud of what we did at EST, and it was tough too, trying to make a decision on the fly out of the fallout of 1260 going down. And hopefully, like you said, Brandon, maybe Patty Steinberg's putting something together. Like, I remember talking to him 2 years ago, and he goes, how's everything working with you guys? And I said, it's good. There's competition in the market. People have options. Proud of what we're putting together. Talked to Gregor. He's happy about what he's putting together. And I think the Northern Alberta sports fan might maybe sad that 1260 went down, but now they can go different places and get their information about their favorite sports teams in a couple of different spots and hear some new voices. And maybe that's what happens in Calgary. Maybe that's what happens in Vancouver. And I know Pat was saying, I should get ready just in case that happens to us. And that was 2 years ago, guys. So maybe Patty's putting something together. I haven't talked to him that first day after your station goes down, gone through it. You're reeling, you're trying to cope. And then once the dust settles a little bit, then you start planning the next move. Some people get out of the industry too. They say, to hell with this. Like, it's too crazy right now. Not reliable. Don't know if you're going to have a place to work the next day. And they say, that's it. I'm moving on to something else. Others who are stubborn, like myself, like Gregor, Dusty, and the crew at EST, say, no, we forge on and we try to make it work. And you know what? Good point, Brandon, about the support and the passion in those cities. Because with that comes the sponsorship and the partnerships from companies and people in those communities that want to hear sports radio and will invest and promote and be a part of upstart new stations, let's call it, or ventures. So I wanted to get that off my chest and wish them well, everybody over there. My brother was affected. He was at City News down in Calgary, and he's going through a lot of the crap I went through. So I'm trying to help him as much as possible, but while letting him just kind of cope with it, Sometimes you need that. Harry texting in says people have mortgages, big time. Harry, like I'm one of them. The day I got possession of my condo was the day 1260 went down. I literally got an email at 8:30 a.m. from the lawyer saying, congratulations, you're a homeowner. And then at 9 a.m., we were told there's no longer TSN 1260. So I've been through it, man. And a lot of people have mortgages, payments, families to support. Shovelhead texting and says, good morning, boys. Fortunately, these days, a company needs government funding to survive. Good job with the show. Not yes and no. I mean, if that's the model, sure. But I think there's plenty of examples where you do not need government funding. I don't think Gregor in 14.4, I don't think there's government funding involved here. I don't know the nitty gritty of it. I don't ask a lot of those questions. But I think Greg's did a lot of the legwork himself. He's a very good businessman. He hustles. But there's opportunity, basically, is what I'm saying. 1010 Ken says, maybe time to realize that the business model of 95% hockey talk on sports radio is a failing one. You got to spread it out. I mean, you got to identify it yourself as, are you just a hockey outlet or a sports outlet? And if you say you're a sports outlet, you spread it around. I understand where you're coming from, though, 1010 Ken. Terry texted in says 960 tough losses. They were also the radio broadcast for the Flames. Yeah. Now what? Flames might have to take it in-house. Fenny, I mean, you're a Calgary guy.
I mean, if they call, I'll answer it at least.
I wasn't even asking that. I'm like,
but like, I know the
Josh Fenwick, the new voice of the Calgary Flames.
But I know their communications.
Well, it's been great working.
Their communications officer came out yesterday and said that they were blindsided because they had 1 year left on their deal with 960 for the radio broadcast, and Rogers didn't tell them they were closing the station. So he was like, "What the hell, guys? Like, what are we gonna do for this?" So. I know that Vancouver had 6 years left on their deal and someone's already picked up their broadcasting rights, but I'm hoping that it doesn't come down to there's no radio broadcast for the Flames this year and they find something quick.
Yeah, Pipeline Steve, actually in regard to that, as you were saying that, Fenny said, heard that they're going to Rogers FM station for Flames games. If so, great. You got to find something. Like Fenny said, a lot of people want to hear those games. Really quickly, Oil City Dynasty says, Tommy, can you give us a rundown on your day after 1260 shutdown? Real quick. The day it happened, we all got together, or a good chunk of us did, at a BP right across the street from us, Edmonton Mall, actually. Shout out to Tony and Curtis over at BP 170th. And we just basically held a wake for 1260 and had a bunch of drinks and a bunch of food. And then everybody started to piece everything together. The next day, you're coming down from the craziness. You're answering calls, texts, trying to figure stuff out, handle the back end of things, financially. It was a whirlwind, Oil City Dynasty, to say the least. And hundreds of people are going through it after that decision yesterday to cut some stations, which is a tough one. All right. We got to step out. Just wanted to get that off our chest. When we come back, we're going to talk some Canada rugby. Of course, we're going to see Canada in action this Saturday against Portugal. Stephen Meehan, Rugby Canada head coach on the men's side, will be joining us right here on the Gazzola Show, brought to you by Bet365 on Sports 1440.
It's dollar drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena, the Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your fix. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at what'syourshare.ca.
Hello, Edmonton. Did you know the Subaru Forester has earned an IIHS Top Safety Pick Award or higher for 20 years running? With advanced eyesight driver assist technology, 360-degree surround view monitor, driver-focused technology, and of course, the legendary Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, all working together. And it's available as a hybrid, delivering fuel efficiency as low as 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Visit your nearest Subaru dealer and test drive the Subaru Forester today. Welcome to Uncommon.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$7.44, a little BA to get you going, Brian Adams. Nice CanCon. I like this inside joke type thing with the music. I'm a fan of it as we find our rhythm here on the Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Hope you're doing well out there. Text us 1-833-401-1440. We're going to welcome in our first guest of the show, Stephen Meehan, Rugby Canada head coach. Welcome to the program, Stephen. Really appreciate the time this morning. And it's an exciting week for you and your squad, and an exciting match against Spain on Saturday, the 42-42 draw. Spain would pull ahead. You guys would claw your way back. They'd pull ahead. You guys would answer right back. You guys pull ahead. They answer right back, and it ends up in the draw. How would you describe that game from your point of view? What'd you like? Maybe what things do you want to see improved upon this weekend?
Well, firstly, thanks, Tom, for inviting me on. But how would I describe it? Well, I think you described it pretty well, and it probably mimicked my heart rate. You know what was going on in the coach's box. We were, I guess, you're never satisfied with the draw, you know, obviously, but we managed to play some really good rugby, and I think that all the supporters who came out, you know, would have enjoyed that match, you know, because it was, as they say, great theatre in a game like that. So we're just trying to, you know, we're in our build up to our World Cup. You know, this is the beginning. This is the first Nations Cup that's ever been played, so it's a really important period for us. And we're trying to find, you know, players and combinations and all sorts of things going on. So we're just trying to improve every week.
Yeah. the fact that like Spain was able to build those leads multiple times, is it encouraging that your guys didn't get down and they battled through? I mean, if you want to look at some of the positives, is that one thing that kind of is part of your team's identity from an outsider's point of view? Is that a fair take on it?
Well, I guess it's something that we're working on, that's for sure, and there's the physical side of that, to be able to do that. There's also the psychological, needs to stay in those games and be tough throughout, mentally. And even like in the final moments there where we had scored and we were converting, the amount of distraction that was in the face of our kicker, Dakota McMullen, at that stage, that shows some real character, some real strength from him to knock it over. So, yeah, it's one of those things that we're always building or trying to improve. But we've got the assistance of Ryan Hamilton as a sports psychologist now. He's come on board just for this, at the beginning of this program. So I think that's helping with some stuff in the background as well.
Portugal's next on the schedule this Saturday, Clark Stadium, 7 p.m., part of a doubleheader down at Clark Stadium. If you want to go check out some fantastic rugby. How do the Portuguese stack up to the squad you faced with Spain over the past weekend, and what challenges will they present to your team this weekend?
They're a different style. They really enjoy running the ball and playing with speed. So it's quite a challenge. They're second-tier European champions at the moment, so they did really well in their winter. So we played them last November over there as a narrow loss, but they had a 1-point loss to the States last week. So they're playing really well and are quite an exciting team to come and watch as well. So they a little bit different, a little bit more expansive than Spain.
Stephen Meehan joining us from Rugby Canada. The squad gets going on Saturday, 7 p.m. against Portugal down at Clark Stadium. You can check that out. It's going to be great. They've done a great job setting up Clark Stadium with the seating and everything. Watching the highlights, it actually looked really nice. I know the weather hasn't always been great the last few weeks. I happened to pass by. I think your squad was practicing when I was walking into Elks practice, and it's cool to see. You got like the national program working on one field at one stadium and then the football team at the other. I always find that kind of fascinating. But for you and your team, like the logistics, you set up shop in Edmonton for a couple of weeks, kind of build up a home base, play a couple of matches. Then you got to haul everything over to Winnipeg. You play at Princess Auto Stadium, and I think that's against Zimbabwe. What's that like for you as the coach and planning things out? Is it nice that you got the time here to kind of set up camp? Or is it kind of hectic when you have to move around a bit?
Yeah, no, look, to return here from last year was really good, and we probably improved things this year in regards to our, like logistically. But we've always been really welcomed here, so it's a nice place to come. People really help us out. It's just the one shift, and from our point of view, it's just down the road. So it's not a difficult one for us, and of course, staying in Canada is a great thing. Last November, I think we had a trip from Georgia into Portugal, which from door to door took 25 hours and 50 minutes from memory. So this was a lot more pleasant, and I think that the guys in the squad have really enjoyed playing in front of home support, and I'm sure they will again this weekend. And as you say, it was a great atmosphere on last Saturday. Hopefully with the double header, we have an even better atmosphere again this weekend.
And hopefully the weather holds up. I know that's been a big issue around here for the last couple of weeks, certainly. And hopefully the Elks on Thursday have a good weather day. And then hopefully you guys have a good weather day on Saturday. So that's all we could ask for. Hopefully Mother Nature plays along nicely. Okay, I wanted to ask you this, Stephen, because looking down the squad and where the players are coming from that represent our nation, I see a lot of BC players, see a lot of Ontario representation. I did notice a couple of local guys on the team, Dewald Kotze and Brock Gallagher from the Strathcona Druids. Can you tell us a little bit about our local guys that are on the national squad? Because, Edmonton does like to show up for their local guys as well as the guys wearing the Maple Leaf in general that come from coast to coast.
Well, you could certainly tell that last week they were rallying around the local players. So, and both got out there and performed pretty well for us. they're training hard. They've been part of the squad for some time now. Both were in and around the place last year when we were here as well. So they'll have their personal motivations and the people that they want to play in front of, and so expect another full performance from them. But both obviously playing different positions, different styles of people, different styles of player, and add a bit of colour to the way that we go about things. So it is great to have that local connection. It's really good to be part of that.
Yeah, a couple of good Alberta boys. Nice to see them on the squad. All right, last one for you, Stephen, and appreciate your time once again as you get set for a big matchup on Saturday. National program is great to have, obviously. It does come with costs, though. Rugby Canada has the Earn Not Given campaign going on. It helps support the program. Can you tell us a little bit about the program and if people might want to get in, are interested by it, or might want to get involved? What can you tell them about the Earn Not Given program?
So there's a rugby.ca/donate link that people can go onto to get part of this. So it'll all be in and around our World Cup program, and what we're trying to achieve, and then obviously supporting rugby in Canada in general. So it's a really good. We saw with the Women's World Cup last year, there was a program run, similar sort of program, and it was hugely beneficial to the team. So we're hoping to experience the same sort of groundswell of support, and it could make a massive difference to us when we go to Australia next year.
Yeah, that would be awesome to see some support. Always need funds to make things happen. I know certainly Paul Lapolis on the flag football side talking about fundraising and how difficult it can be. And for a lot of our national squads, support is super important. And the more we can help together, chip in, the better for those teams. This will be my last one. I apologize, Stephen. I lied. If somebody has not been to a rugby match and is piqued by and their curiosity is piqued by this match coming up on Saturday, what are they in for if they're first timers?
Well, there's 15 grown men on each side, and they go at it. It's a pretty technical game. It can flow for long periods or for short periods, so it can be broken up. But it's a real physical challenge. It's quite it can be quite the battle. So the nuances of it, may be lost, but just that gladiatorial spirit is what people should come and look for and enjoy.
Yeah, it's damn impressive. Those are some warriors out on the pitch, and look forward to seeing Canada win on Saturday against Portugal. Stephen, best of luck. Thank you for the time today, sir. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, Tom.
There you go. There's Stephen Meehan. He is Rugby Canada's head coach as the men's side takes on Portugal. It's a doubleheader. Spain takes on Tonga earlier in the day, 7 p.m. It is Canada versus Portugal. Check out Ticketmaster for your tickets, and then you can go to Rugby Canada's website as well, and they'll direct you in the right to the right location to pick those up. Steven's right; those are warriors. Like, those are scary individuals, and they'll beat each other up for 80-minute match, and then they'll go and crush a few beers and sing songs together and have the best time.
And to listen, I grew up as a curling person, and rugby to me almost lends itself to the summer version of curling, where you can go out there and compete. Now the physicality certainly not even close to the same, but you go there, you compete, you're trying to win, and then you all congregate teammates and opponents alike after the fact to share a cold beverage, swap some stories, and obviously respect each other's opponents. So I know we call soccer the beautiful game, but I think rugby deserves a pretty similar denotion of an ilk like that.
I look at those guys and girls and go, my goodness, how do you do it? That's amazing. And they put on a show, man. So Clark Stadium this weekend, go support our national team on the men's side, and they'll take on Portugal coming off the Canadian men coming off a 42-42 tie against Spain last weekend. Good battle there. I was watching the highlights, and I was like, wow. I mean, listen, I know you never give up attitude in any sport is the mentality you want to have, but Spain would score. Canada would reply. Spain would score. Canada would reply. Spain would score. Canada replied. Canada would take the lead. Spain replied. And then they end up with the 42-42 draw. Maybe a better result on Saturday. Thank you to Stephen and everybody over at Rugby Canada for giving us some time here on the Gazzola Show. A couple of texts before we go to break. We have Spec coming up for On the Mark. A lot of texts coming in regard to our conversation in the last segment as well, just about being on air. Harry said no Toronto closure. Well, Harry, Toronto is kind of the hub of media, and I don't think that one would be top of the list to be cut. Honest, now the text line's not working for me. Look at that. Well, shucks. That's all right. We'll get through it without. Let's go check the YouTube side of things. Rod Zawacki says, have we seen anybody lose an ear yet? Not that I know of. Zedmo would like Brandon to speak more of curling.
You a curling guy, Tom?
I'll be honest with you. There were two sports I was deathly afraid of doing highlights for when I was at CTV Edmonton.
I thought you were going to say you're deathly afraid of playing.
No.
I was like, Tom, the ice isn't that slippery.
No.
It's not a big deal.
Actually, curling's fun. You do like bonspiels and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it engages muscles that you didn't expect to engage, and you end up being sore the next day if you're sweeping a lot, if you don't do it regularly. And I respect curlers way more than maybe I would have prior to trying it. But yeah, there were two sports, basketball and curling, where I'm like, I don't want to sound like a total moron.
You don't want to be boom goes the dynamite guy.
No. So thankfully, when I was at CTV Edmonton anchoring sports briefly, there would be a script that came with those highlights.
You didn't have to write your own.
I would just stick to it.
Yeah. Not adding a lot of flavor to those highlight packs. Eh?
No, I was not.
Very, very straight read.
It's just like, this is what happened. Here you go. Hopefully I read all the words right on the right clips. So yeah, I enjoy it. I get into the bigger tournaments, but I enjoy the Briar Patch. I found that to be a great time when I experienced it when the Briar was here. I think that was like 2014, or was that prior to that? Was it maybe even earlier? 2008? Somewhere around there. Yeah. Anyway, two sports that when I would do highlights, I'd be like, well, I'm going to have to use the old script from the one provided. And away we go. Big thank you to Stephen Meehan from Rugby Canada stopping by, head coach of the squad. Men's team taking on Portugal on Saturday. You can get tickets for that double header, Spain and Tonga, earlier in the day. We got to step out for a quick break. On the Mark with Mark Spector coming up next. And then before we get to all that, we need a sports update with Brandon. Brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunication, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here's Brandon.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Final matches from the round of 16 at the World Cup. It did not disappoint. Argentina coming back late and scoring in stoppage time to defeat Egypt 3-2, and Switzerland taking down Colombia 4-3 in penalties for the final game on Canadian soil to advance through. They will face each other, Argentina and Switzerland, in quarterfinal action. In the majors yesterday, the Blue Jays bounced back with a 9-3 win in San Francisco. 13 hits on the night for the Blue Jays, including a home run by Jonathan Clase in his first start of the season. Elsewhere around the majors, Milwaukee taking both halves of a doubleheader over St. Louis. Ryan O'Hearn, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs in the Pirates' 12-4 win over Atlanta, and the Yankees striking out a record 17 times en route to a defeat at the hands of the Rays, 6-4. WCL action yesterday afternoon from Remax Field. The Riverhawks fall to Nanaimo, 12-4, and officially made official yesterday. Ottawa Senators signing Claude Giroux to a 1-year extension, $2 million AAV with up to $5 million in bonuses. Coming up in hour 2 of the Tom Gazzola Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector and Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times covering the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup,
debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Greger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
You may get up early, but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchek here. If you're 40 or over, a quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
The big hits. The big kicks. Catch all the action at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in a house with tons of big screens. And Selly's menu. Something for everyone. Plus game day food and drink features. So bring your friends, cheer loud and proud, and join the fun at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Every day is game day at Century Casino.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
Hour number 2. It's the Tom Gazzola Show here on Sports 1440. Good morning. Hope you're doing good out there. Should be a lovely day. We roll along. The Gazzola Show presented by Bet365. We've got Mark Spector coming up with On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. In July, you pay what they pay. You can get employee pricing all month long on every car, truck, or SUV. Stop it and see their great selection at NorthgateGM.com. Text us 1-833-401-1440. Get into the chat over on YouTube if you'd like to do that as well. We appreciate that. Spec's good to go. Wonderful. Happy Friday, Spec. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, you get out here, you get a little lake time going, you kind of forget what day it is, buddy.
I know. Listen, honest mistake. I know you listen, we were joking. We're like, oh, he's going to be disappointed when he finds out it's only Wednesday tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. You know, one of my favorite T-shirts as a kid that guys used to wear was give blood, play rugby.
You know what? We were joking with the guys after we talked to Steve and me in there. That is a high impact sport played by the toughest men and women. And I think the rugby sevens have become more popular. I know being at the Olympics certainly has helped, and our men and women's squad, I think they're pretty respectable on the world stage, are they not?
Yes, oh yeah, for sure. We're good at sevens, especially our women are right up there. Sevens is just more exciting. There's more open field. There's more 80-yard runs. There's, you know, It's like 3-on-3 hockey, man. It's way more offense, right?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But hopefully, a good turnout on Saturday for Canada, Portugal, and even that Spain Tonga match earlier in the day. Get the 2-for-1 if you're getting tickets to go to Clark Stadium on Saturday. So that'll be great. Speaking of the world stage, drama again at the World Cup, and I know you dabble. And Argentina survives. They're down 2-0. I don't know how much of it you watched or if you just caught the highlights, but Messi magic again. They're throwing him up in the air at the end of the game. He's crying after they win, scores crucial goals for them, missed a penalty kick. The Egypt squad, the Egyptians are irate, saying not fair on every post-game interview that they're doing. And then, it had it all, man. Like, that was insane. And it never ceases to entertain us, does it?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. Like, who'd have thought you're watching Argentina and Egypt? If ever there was a game where the description, that's why they play the game, applied, right?
Yeah.
I was actually I was at the quarry getting ready to play golf, and so I was watching with no sound in the bar, and it's 73rd minute, it's 2-0 for Egypt, and it's like, oh my God, this is like this is an upset of this. They're going to talk about this upset for years and years and years in the soccer football world. And then Messi, I forget who scored, and then Messi scored, and then it's 3-2. And I didn't gather the controversy because when the game ended, I went out and teed up. But like, Argentina's not supposed to lose to Egypt here, and being down 2-0, I think in the 73rd minute, that was unbelievable. 3 goals in the final, whatever it was, 20 minutes of playtime. It was crazy game.
It was, and the entertainment factor through the roof. But here is where the controversy came from, and I think I'm getting the gist of it and the majority of it. But guys went down easy, Spec. Couple guys went down in the box on challenges pretty easy. The Egyptians thought there should have been some fouls called. The ref said play on. They went to VAR or VAR, and the Egyptians didn't get the calls their way, much to their chagrin, and they were pissed.
Let me call the wambulance.
But that's soccer. That's where it's at right now. Early in the World Cup, we're having this argument. I can't remember. I think it was with my brother. I'm watching one of the games, and my dad, and I'm like, these guys, like, which sniper in the crowd is picking them off and taking them down like this? And I don't know if it was my dad, but he's like, if you don't go down, you're not going to get the call, though. It's that old adage, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
But it's, we come from sports where you're not supposed to stay down. We watch those, and those are, things that we've kind of learned is supposed to be the way you get up and you shake it off. And these guys don't. But if you don't do that,
the culture, it's gone too far. The toughest job in the world here is the referee, because everyone's trying to fool you all the time, all over the pitch. They're all going down everywhere. So imagine trying to be a referee at one of these games. Like, they're just, every single player out there is trying to fool you. So yeah, one guy does, Kone breaks his leg. Like, at the moment, the referee probably thinks, he's just another guy down, until you walk over there and see his legs crooked. But, honestly, it's jumped the shark in soccer culture. Like, guys get into the box, they fall pretty easily around the field, and I know it's a tough game, and I know guys break their legs and ankles, and it's a man's game, and it's hard. Like, guys do get hurt, I get it, but when you get inside the box, then it's like times 5. They fall even easier, because now I'm in the box, so I have to fall. What about persevering and trying to get to a ball and score? Like, why did the default become fall over rather than stay on your feet and try to make a goal? Now I'm in the box, I'm close to the net. If I can beat one more guy, I can score a goal. But instead, I'm looking for the easy call and now a penalty kick, which they score on 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Listen, I know I sound like a hockey guy. I don't care who I sound like. Like, these are grown men who are the best athletes at their sport in the world, and they spend far too much time rolling around holding their face when they got kicked in the shin. Like it's an issue. It's an issue in soccer. They've let it get away, and frankly, it tells me why we should, in hockey and the sports that we love dearly in North America, we should be on alert, and we should never go down the route soccer went down, because it's the cat's out of the bag in soccer. They're never putting it back in.
The best is the tuck and roll.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like, it's brutal. Guys grabbing their face when they barely got kicked in the toe. Like, what are you doing? Get up. Yeah, it scars the game. It's the only thing about this fabulous World Cup that anyone doesn't like is watching these actresses roll all over the field.
It's On the Mark with Mark Spector from Sportsnet, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. All right, a couple days ago, you wrote an article about the goalie situation, and I know our good friend Reed Wilkins talked to Stan Bowman, and Bowman kind of gave some insight into that, and so you kind of had a article that reacted to that, what we know, what we think we know, what we expect, and it was a really good read, obviously, and if people need their Oilers fix, go check it out. But essentially, Spec, they're going to roll with this three-headed goalie monster.
Crazy,
and it is. One thing that you wrote about was the reference from Bowman to this becoming more of a thing in the NHL because a couple of teams have employed it. I read that and my reaction was, I don't like it. I don't think it'll work. Do you really think that the three goalie rotation in the NHL will become a true thing?
I'm not sure that I do. Like, I think it's incumbent upon having, let's say Frederik Andersen is he's sort of the canary in the coal mine here. Here you have a legitimate number one goalie, but an older guy who's been hurt a lot. So we all get it. We all realize all he wants in a season is 30 starts now, right? That's all he wants. So here in Edmonton, I can see what we're doing here. Like, I can see what Bowman's doing. That's why when he got Devin Levi, I'm like, what are you doing with Devin Levi? Now I get it. Jari to me can give you 35, 40 starts if he has to, like, assuming he stays healthy and plays well. And no, I get it. It's an assumption, but let's see what he does. But he's a goalie in the prime of his career. He can give me some starts, and Devin Levi might surprise and give you a few more starts. But my point is this: I don't think you don't do it in Calgary where you got Wolf and Cooley. Why on earth would you bring a third guy in there?
Right.
You don't do it in, right? You did it in Buffalo because they had some guys that didn't stop pucks and some injuries, and Ukko Pekka-Luukkonen is out and in and good and bad. And, so you might do it by mistake, but in terms of teams planning here in July to start their season with a 3-goalie system and carry 3 goalies all year long, I don't think I agree with Bowman that it's something we're going to see more and more and more of. Do you? Like,
No.
Who else would be doing this if not a team with a beat up, older starting goalie?
Well, you talk about Buffalo, and I think the other team reference was Carolina, but they were scuttling. Wasn't it Kochetkov was going up and down, and Bussy was a waiver claim that nobody really knew about. Like, they had a great team, and they had guys that were able to get the job done and were adequate to a little more than adequate, and ended up being the right recipe for a Stanley Cup, right?
Well, I mean, and if it works, like, basically what we're talking about here is we're reverse engineering this thing. Bowman wants Anderson healthy and ready to be his playoff goalie, but he's got to get him through the regular season, right? Healthy.
That's such a weird thing, in my opinion.
Well, but I mean, better to realize what you have. Like, I know everyone knows what we have in Anderson. We have a 30-game, 30-start goalie in Anderson. That's all he wants. That's all he's getting paid for. Like, he's a $2.8 million number one goalie. That's pretty good value. And now you bring on a Levi, and let's see what happens with him. A lot of people tell you he's got tons of promise and might be a goalie one day. I got to see it to believe it. So we're going to see it. And I mean, the guy that's going to have the easiest year this season is the new e-bug that's going to travel around with the team and barely have to slap the pads on here.
It's neat how they're doing this, and it's also kind of weird having an e-bug around. Like, is he a professional goalie? No, not really. Like, he's going to be with the team practicing. He's quote unquote practice goalie. If guys go down, he's the guy that steps in. Like,
right.
Also, if you have 3 goalies on the roster and then you have an e-bug and both of your goalies who are on the game sheet go down, could you not go to your third stringer? I think probably not, right? So you have to put in the e-bug over the guy that you're sitting every night?
Yeah, I'm going to say that the PA wouldn't allow you to say, like, let's say Devin Levi's in his suit in the press box because he's not dressed that night.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a universal rule that everyone has to have their own e-bug. I know that there's that new rule this year. You got to travel the guy. He's your e-bug. He's got his pads, and we're done using Zamboni drivers from the other team, right?
Like, want to know.
Like we did. What was his name? Kevin Ayers or something?
Ayers? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say to you that no, the Oilers are frankly like Brad Harrison's going to have to pack 4 sets of pads here for every trip. I'd like to look into that. You should look into it. It'd probably be a really good segment. Like, what's going on with this new e-bug? I heard just through the grapevine that Calgary's actually doing like an open tryout for their e-bug.
I don't mind that at all. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Like, what are the Oilers doing? Where's their e-bug coming from? How's that going to work? And again, if you're traveling 3 goalies, do you have the option not to have an e-bug? I don't think you do. Like I say, right. I don't think the PA would allow, and I don't think other teams would allow. Like, why if the Flames have to carry a e-bug that's never played in the NHL, why do the Oilers get to use Devin Levi as their e-bug? That's not fair, right?
Yeah, and I understand that. Like, I really do, but it's one of those weird wrinkles in the new rules that are being implemented here. So
it's good. I think it's fun.
Yeah. We'll see what situations pop up and arise from it, because there's been a few times where the e-bug here in Edmonton has had to get ready, doesn't have to do anything. I remember the St. Louis e-bug, talking to him last year on Hello Hockey, and he was a fascinating guy. He's a big video game player. Like, I think he was a pro video gamer.
Okay.
And, just they come from all different types of backgrounds and stuff. So now it's a job, which is kind of neat.
Well, the Oilers played the one kid, right?
Yeah, from the U of A.
Yeah, from the U of A. They gave him a couple of, like the last 3 minutes. I always feel like when we're in a game and the game's going on and you have an e-bug on the bench and he's always getting his TV time and they're showing him and he's nervous. Like, if it's 4-1 and there's 2 minutes left, put the guy in, give him the thrill of his life. Like, come on. These coaches that are too serious to play the guy, let him play. What the hell?
I'm with you. Spec, last one for you, because I think it's going to go dark here in the hockey world. That's usually the time of year when people go on vacation and stay the hell away from the office. Do you expect any more movement in the next couple of days, or is it going to be late August when players start rolling into their respective cities and all the GMs and managers and coaches come back into town? When we start to hear about PTOs and maybe some trades and stuff like that. What's your take on that?
If PTOs don't happen till later, trades are done. I mean, historically, there are no trades from now until, barely any in September or October either. Mm-hmm. The only thing left now, there are some big name free agents out there, and some guys might lower their number and get signed somewhere. There's a Tarasenko's kicking around out there. There's a few guys. But remember this. Jack Roslovic signed with the Oilers last year, if memory serves. I think it was October 8th.
Yeah. It was during the game we had that press conference.
Right. It was early October.
Yeah.
So that guy, and Stan Bowman he's got cap space and he's ready for the next Jack Roslovic. I know that for sure. I think they got their eye on a couple of players. What's his name hasn't signed yet. Mantha hasn't signed yet.
Yeah.
He's I'm not a giant Mantha fan at all. Like, I'm not here saying they should sign him. I think he's been an underwhelming player. Someone's going to sign him.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to sign Tarasenko if he wants to play. So, but to me, that signing now, it may go if Bowman's going to replicate the success he had with the 1 year, $1.5 million Roslovic deal. Roslovic gave him 21 goals. That's not happening until early October either. So yeah, Tommy, I think, in terms of roster movement and signings, you never know. Something could happen in the next 5 minutes, but history tells us it's not happening now until people get back to work for training camp.
Yeah, lights are going out across.
Lights are going out a little bit. We're going to concentrate on football and rugby.
Yep.
And
our golf games.
And our golf game, mine could use some focus. Yes.
Just go see Cynthia at the quarry again. He'll take care of you.
All right, man. See ya.
Good to see you, Spec. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday. That was On the Mark with Mark Spector, powered by Northgate. This truck's for you. What's with the giggles?
Spec has this tendency to, he leaves the stream before Josh removes him from it. So he just disappears.
I can't see it.
He
so
just
I don't
disappears off the screen. He straight up just clicks the X on his browser window whenever he's done.
That sounds right.
Sometimes it's in the middle of his own sentence. Sometimes Josh tries to beat him to it and ends up cutting him off in the middle of his own sentence that he did intend to finish. And it's made for quite the tete-a-tete here amongst our digital producers and the legendary Mark Spector across all programs. This, the same thing Declan goes at it with him on the Gregor show too. So,
well, he just texted back. He said, "Sorry, I cut you off. Thought you said take care." No, I wasn't done with you. I'm kidding.
Classic Spec.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, Spec. Have a good Wednesday. That was On the Mark. And coming up next, it's our headliner of the day, Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times. We'll take a look at what's going on with the Lightning, and Eduardo will join us next right here on the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Summer weekends in Alberta mean one thing: tournament season.
I brought the folding chairs. I brought the sunscreen. I brought the umbrella, just in case.
But who brought the snacks to get through a doubleheader?
I got Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the ultimate sideline fuel. Whether you're cheering on the kids or watching the pros, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
8:27 in Edmonton. It is the Tom Gazzola Show presented by Bet365. We're going to dive right into it with Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times. He is our headliner of the day. The headliner of the day brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, stepping up to the plate so you won't have to. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca as we are in the heart of the baseball season. Let's bring in Eduardo Encina. Eduardo, good day, sir. How are you? It's still morning down in Tampa, so hopefully you're having a nice Wednesday as we roll along through a good week up here in Edmonton. Listen, the fallout of free agent frenzy, all the trades, the draft. I mean, the Lightning are in a good spot generally. I know probably want to have more playoff success, but they bring in John Carlson, Ilya Mikheyev, Jeffrey Viel, and a couple of others. How did the team fare, in your opinion, coming out of the draft and then free agency?
Yeah, I think they fared pretty well. Obviously the offseason started with them, not being able to agree on terms with Darren Radish. I know they wanted to do that, but, obviously ended up with sign and trade with Toronto to get something back. So you were looking for another defenseman to kind of fill that void. I think, all the rumors we heard about Zach Werenski were true in terms of him wanting to come to the Lightning and the Lightning being interested in him. Something just didn't work out there, and obviously there's a lot of different talk there. But I think being able to nab John Carlson, especially on a short-term deal, when you look at this Lightning team, Julian Breezeball always kind of tempers the expectations come free agency time. And he always looks at this as his job as being a steward of making sure the Lightning are competitive now and down the road. So getting Carlson, who was, really essentially the top, defenseman, UFA available on a 2-year deal, bringing him in. And I think they liked the fact that if there's one thing they saw with the power play and just, running up top was that having a right shot defenseman up top to on the power play and even on 5-on-5 for Nikita Kucherov to feed the puck to and have a quick shot there. That was one thing they learned. And so bringing Carlson in and adding him in really fits the bill there. So not to say he's going to score 10 power play goals like Darren Radish did, but I think everyone knew that a lot of Radish's success was hinging on getting fed the puck right on the tape from arguably the best table setter in the game. So I think they feel really good with where they're at. I think they addressed a lot of different things with the other additions, like you mentioned, Mikheyev and Viel, to kind of add to the bottom six, which I think when you look at what they've been able to do, they're actually not been able to do in terms of getting out of that first round. Obviously, that Montreal series, I think it's probably been one of the toughest series that kind of went. It's 1-game goals every game. A lot of goes overtime. Just kind of adding on to try to get maybe over that hump. Because in the Eastern Conference, in the Atlantic Division, those young teams aren't going anywhere. Florida's going to be back. Who knows about Toronto? Boston, was competitive this year. So it's kind of you got to keep up with the Joneses a little bit if you want to be remain competitive there.
Hey, from an outsider's point of view, it looks like they have kept up with the Joneses. And as an aside, speaking of Radish and him going to Toronto, do you think he'll be able to have that same type of success that he had last season in Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, it's so, we know. I mean, when you put that leaf on your jersey, there's a little bit different set of pressure, I think. But the thing about Darren, obviously he's a Toronto guy. He's always been able to prove his doubters wrong. So. This is going to be a little bit different, having a big contract like that. But I never bet against Darren Radish. I think from the Lightning's perspective, I'm not putting words in their mouth, is that, I think that when you look at that length of a contract for him, if you're expecting him to have 70 points all eight years of that contract, you might be, not disappointed, but, you might be aiming high there. But also, Darren has been able to find ways to be productive, especially last year, using opportunities. But I think he'd probably tell you he's not the most fluid skater in the world. As defensemen age, that skating becomes, a thing, and, so as he enters that 29, 30 year, whether you're expecting 8 years of that, I think that's tough. And I think that's really what the Lightning were looking. I think the Lightning were willing to give him, a contract, but it probably wasn't going to be 8 years. It probably wasn't going to be at 8 million. It was probably going to be more of like the 4 or 5 year deal at around, 5.5 to 6. Just because you don't have that track record of length from production from him over the long haul, and so when you look at a guy like Carlson, he's a little bit older, obviously. I think he's going to be 36, 37, I think in December or something like that. So, but they're going with track record right now, and the bad, not the bad part, but you have experience, you have that track record, but at the same time, your defense core is a little older when you have Carlson, you have Victor Hedman, Ryan McDonough, all guys who are in their mid 30s pushing up there. So, and again, with defensemen, those guys put in minutes. But we always know that, when defensemen reach a certain level, the fall off is fast. So, you hope that these guys still have some mileage on them. I think that's kind of the big question going in is like, you're looking at 3 guys who've been playing, 20 plus minutes a night for the past, 16, 17 years. When does when does that kind of, fall off a bit?
Yeah, that's a lot of miles. And no doubt those guys have been through some epic battles and gone the distance when it comes to like the Stanley Cup and all that. They've won Stanley Cups, obviously. I guess my next question would be, I'm just looking at the roster. We talk about the new signings and I'm looking at the lines and pretty stacked. I'm looking at them thinking this is a solid, deep team up front, especially. You talk about the shortcomings with how old some of the defensemen are. I think that's valid. Absolutely. The goaltending, Vasilevsky, when you got him back there, that's always a prime situation to be in. So are there any other weaknesses or notable weaknesses in your opinion of this team outside of maybe the fact that the defense, there's some question marks with age and how well they'll be able to hold up and their body's not letting them down this season?
Yeah, I think, I just think it is a thing where you look at, everyone wants to talk about windows, right? And the core of this group, they're kind of all in the same age, outside of those big 3 that we talked about, the defensemen, it's like that 29 to 30 group. And we're talking about guys like, Gensel, Point, guys like that, even Kucherov. Kucherov is 32, I think. And I think that's a big question given this offseason that we haven't addressed kind of is that, he's up for an extension. You don't necessarily want Nikita Kucherov going into his walk year, unsigned, uncertain of his future. And obviously he's coming off of a Hart Trophy performance. So you would think, it's a discussion where you're like, hey, what you want, what's it going to take for you to stay here for the long term, and you get it done. That's one thing they haven't been able to get done yet. I think that's something that as they, as the time keeps going, it might end up being, you don't want it to end up being another Steven Stamkos situation, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at the guys on the ice, I think this is a competitive team. There's a team that can go far. I think, when you talk to the defenseman core, Victor Hedman was hurt. Ryan McDonough was hurt too last year, and other guys stepped up. Radish was one of those guys. But I think when you look at this team, there are some strengths there in terms of adding a guy like Mikheyev, a guy who can kind of slot into that bottom 6. He's a great forechecker, add some speed. Veal's a guy who it might raise some eyelids that you gave him a 5-year commitment, but I think he's a guy. Breezeball actually compared him to a Barclay Goodrow kind of player in terms of where he was in his career. Like maybe we're getting this guy at the right time. I don't think people knew how good Barclay Goodrow might have been, and then you put him in the right situation on that Gord line. They win a couple cups there. So they're really, the Lightning are really good at knowing what they need, and they aren't necessarily big splash things. I know they made a big splash of Carlson, but I think they want to get faster in their bottom 6. They want to add some supplemental scoring. And they wanted to add some guys who kind of fit that matchup kind of line role. When they lost Pontus Holmberg, as crazy as it sounds, they weren't the same team with that Gord line. So Veal can kind of fit in there. Mikheyev can fit in there. So I think that's one thing they learned from that. It's like even a role player like a Pontus Holmberg, when you lose them, it can really hurt you. And I think now they've got a couple guys in there added to the forward group that you can kind of slot in there and and feel really good about where the fits are. And again, like now, the one thing that evolved last year was 2 matchup lines. You got the Sorelli line. They're obviously a great matchup line. when he's paired with Hagel, and then that Gord line when he had with Gergensons and Holmberg. Guys that they're very confident with, that they can match up against any line, any top line, and shut them down and frustrate them. So I think that's kind of the key to it. And I think they've done a good job of that over the course of last year and even dating back to 2 years ago. So yeah, I think that and we know when it comes down to the playoffs, that's really kind of what you want to do. You want to shut down star players.
Right. And you know what? Going back to like picking up guys in free agency, sometimes it's not the big splash that makes the biggest difference. It's the right moves that make the biggest difference. And I think you kind of touched on that for sure. Eduardo Encina joining us from the Tampa Bay Times. He is our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. I'm going to ask you this last one. It's in regard to John Cooper, his longevity, the loyalty between him and the Lightning, the fact that his teams are always in the mix, making the playoffs. Maybe they're not going as deep as they were 4 or 5 years ago. And the cup runs haven't been there in recent years, but he's been through a lot over a long time with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I know people around Edmonton were getting excited for a brief window at the potential of, hey, is John Cooper going to get let go after that early exit in the playoffs? Maybe he'd be perfect in Edmonton. He was described as the perfect coach by Connor McDavid earlier in the season. But what works between John Cooper and the Lightning, and the fact that he is an outlier in being a coach that sticks around even when there's down years?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and I think it starts, if you talk to him, he'll still tell you. And I think Julian and even Jeff Vinnick, the ownership, there's just a top to bottom continuity. And I think they all kind of see the same page. They see the end goal here. It helps when you've won 2 cups. I think that, if we go back to, 2019, when the President's Trophy season, when they, when they lost to Columbus in the first round, I think, probably there was a kind of a gut check moment for everyone in the organization of whether this was the right group. And I think they stayed the course. Obviously they were rewarded with a couple Stanley Cups and some deep playoff runs. And, again, I think there's just a lot of faith in the entire system. And as much as Coop is a big part of that, it's Julian too. It's like I said, Jeff Finnegan. There's a little bit of an ownership change going on in the next year or so. But I think that they've done it in a way that it's essentially going to be a handoff of philosophies instead of necessarily anything where, there's going to be a change in dramatic change in the way the team is being, owned or run. So I just think that's a thing. It's like I've only once in my time covering this team, that's been 7 years now, is ever thought that Coop was on a hot seat. And that was like, I think a couple years ago, they had this really bad January going into the break. And even then, like, I thought he might be on the hot seat, but asking around, like, it was like, no, he's they just have complete faith in him. He still, I think, has the room as much as he always has, and because he knows how to relate to players. And again, like I said, I think from top to bottom, just the whole organization itself is an outlier, because we're so used to, like you said, one bad run, one bad stretch, one bad postseason, one early exit. And I think a lot of coaches have to worry about their jobs. But for some reason in Tampa Bay, it's not that case. And, I think all these guys I think it's just a complete alignment top to bottom with the way they believe and their philosophy and everything like that. Because, again, like, and it's not to say that anyone's satisfied with getting bumped, 4 years in a row in the first round. But I think that, from top to bottom, they're all, they're all still just as hungry to win a Stanley Cup as they were after that 19 season, or even, after the back-to-back cups. I don't think any of that hunger has ever waned here with this group, and that they're all going to do it together.
Hey, you want to cover a team that fires a coach after 2 final appearances and a first-round exit? I've got the one for you, buddy. Come on up here. Come on up here, because that's what happens. Eduardo, thanks for the time this morning, man. Appreciate the insight into the Lightning. Enjoy your off season. I'm sure we're going to catch up again.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome stuff there from Eduardo Encina for the Tampa Bay Times on a team and franchise that utilizes and incorporates stability. Stability. That's the word of the day. Something we don't have around here with the hockey team. Was that rude? Brandon, tell me if that was rude.
Listen, the truth hurts sometimes.
Oh,
Tom.
boy.
What did we not have this exact conversation yesterday about the Blue Jays? And
Yes.
stay in the course. And what was the example that we used? Tampa Bay Lightning and John Cooper. You gotta, and like, because Cooper and the Lightning went to the final in 2015, right? Lost to the Hawks, the last Hawks Cup.
Yep, and then 3 in a row after,
and they didn't get, like I said. Then they were just kind of muddling around. We know about the dramatic first round exit to Columbus.
That was
but
crazy.
then guess what? You come back and win back-to-back cups. Another finals appearance on top of that too. So there's something to be said about continuity and stability.
That was the Mr. Rooter headliner knocking your plumbing problems out of the park like Ryan O'Hearn did yesterday 3 times. That's MrRooter.ca. Nice stuff there from Eduardo Encina. We got to take a quick break here on the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365. We'll get to some texts coming up right after this.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Mr. Rooter has deja vu. Mr. Rooter has deja vu.
The bathroom is right over there, Mr. Rooter.
Thank you, good sir. Wait, I swear I've plunged this toilet before. It was clogged with a snow globe. Am I living in a time loop? Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Whew, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.ca.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Looking for premium casino entertainment? Betway Casino brings you live casino tables, fast payouts, and the top game providers all in one place. If you're looking to play the Edmonton way, you're in the right place. So when you're ready for that premium casino feel at your fingertips, play the Edmonton way with Betway. Play responsibly. Alberta only. 18+.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
It's finally time to escape your four walls and see where your four wheels can take you. Sherwood Honda helps you head out on the road the way you want to, with the right vehicle, including freedom-seeking SUVs that give you the versatility to drive where, when, and how you want to. It sure would do some good to get out and stretch your horizons, and sure would be easier with Sherwood Honda.
BetMGM Casino is coming to Alberta on July 13th with over 4,000 casino games, including exclusive slots like Game of Thrones. Sign up early and download the app to get started. Then get ready to spin July 13th. See BetMGM.com for terms. 18 plus, Alberta only. Please play responsibly. Subject to eligibility requirements.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with the Alberta iGaming Corporation. Standard message and data rates may apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show. 60% talent, 40% Swedish hair cream. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show here on Sports 1440. A little Lardeline Templeton to bring you back into the show. Is that who that was?
Oh, so close, Tom. I have to assume that your country music knowledge is so
It's
deep
not
and
great.
extensive. No,
I'm sorry.
That's Carlene Carter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, you're not hurting my feelings.
It's a bad joke.
It's just one of those little niches, I guess, of a spillover from the past several years where
I like it.
Listen, I grew up in rural Alberta.
No way.
Yeah, can you believe that?
I know this.
It's part of who I am. So I still like to show a little homage to my country roots by still mixing in a country song usually.
Let's keep it
once per show.
Yeah.
And I know I can't play one when Laddie's in here. Usually not when Schlemmer's in here. It's not their cup of tea either.
No.
Eddie, as we discussed yesterday, Eddie will get his boots, jeans tucked inside them, stomping along to anything.
Yes.
But
literally.
So yeah, I like to get a little yeehaw flavor rolled in at some point or another over the course of 4 hours.
Brandon, I am all here for it, and let's keep that tradition going. If you want to, I want to.
I can't wait to expand your horizons with some country music. And most of the stuff I'll play is older.
That's
older
fine.
stuff, 80s, 90s. The golden age.
Sure.
So you'll be yeehawing and hooting and hollering with the best of us in no time at all.
As my partner and colleague on this fine program, I respect that. Will I be hooting and hollering?
Yep.
Maybe.
Can't wait till you, me, Eddie, Josh, Donovan, little boys' night out at Cook County Saloon.
Always a good time, by the way.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Despite your indifference to country music and whatnot, I can only imagine you've ventured into Cook more than a couple times.
Happily wander into there with you, and we'll make sure it's a good time without question. Also, no, I'm not that well educated when it comes to country music. I'm more of just like rock, alternative, that kind of dorky thing. But one of my favorite musicians, and he's from a band that's one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm a big The Killers fan. I have been since day one. Brandon Flowers, who grew up in Nephi, Utah, which I've driven through, and my dad got a speeding ticket there in the 70s. He told me about this. Cop had his hand on the gun when he pulled him over too. Yeah. He obviously The Killers are pop rock, alternative, whatever you want to call it. He's dipping into his country roots. He wrote and recorded an album that's coming out next month called Thrasher. That's straight up country.
Count me in.
Yeah, and
can I do the pre-download thing on Spotify?
Yeah, the first single came out last week, and I've been listening to it quite a bit. And again, not a huge country guy, but I have all the time in the world for Brandon Flowers, and I'm like, this is pretty good.
How about another tie-in of a similar note? So you of a somewhat similar vintage to our friend Connor Halley, who continues to enjoy his 2 consecutive weeks of holiday here.
Lucky.
He knows, like, so you know the band Stereos?
Yeah, they're local.
Yeah, so and I don't know about the whole group, but the lead singer, whose name I can never remember, and that's my fault because we talk about him all the time. He plays in a fantasy football league with Connor.
Okay.
And so they're like familiar with each other. He too has ventured into the country music space the last couple of years with I don't know if it's just him or if it is the full band, so it's called Delta Suite.
I've heard of
and
them.
and he actually does quite a bit of work on the production side of his records with Dan Davidson, who is just down the hallway at CFCW here as the morning show host. So there's this weird how it's, small world, truly is more often than not.
Dan Davidson, formerly of Tupelo Honey.
Yeah, there you go.
And a guy I played hockey with as a kid, Rob Chalafu, was also in Stereos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Small world.
How all this works, crazy. Blows me away.
Hey, music's important.
I love music.
It gets you going, picks you up when you're down. So I'm all for it, man. And here's a weird thing. Like, I've really started to appreciate like Latin pop. I'm not even kidding.
He's like, since Bad Bunny was at the Super Bowl, you're infatuated or what?
And it's not the Bad Bunny effect. Like on MLB The Show, there's this one song called La Samaria.
Okay.
If we can find it and play it at some point.
You'll probably have to spell it for me, but we can play it for sure.
I love it. And then like I told you guys about guilty pleasures as we're learning about each other. Like Camila Cabello.
Yeah. I'm sure you feel real guilty about that pleasure.
A little bit. Anyway, I was thinking of like, man, Latin pop. And then I was listening to some Bad Bunny yesterday. My brother put a bunch of music on my Spotify like list. Okay, we got a couple minutes. I want to hit on this one thing, and it's coming from the discussion we had with Spec. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. It was Doug that had texted in, and he said, sorry, Tom, and I can't agree with you and Spec about it not being fair for teams to have to play an E-Bug goalie compared to teams that carry 3 goalies. I think Doug wanted to write some more. I don't know if he finished the text or forgot to hit send, but that's okay to not agree with us. I just find it odd, and the Oilers have put themselves into this situation here with the 3 goalie system, and if they're going to rock it and they're owning it and they're saying it publicly, fine. But usually, like 9 times out of 10, the 3 goalies aren't happy about it. But
because
go ahead,
just
Brandon.
like any athlete, they want to play, and so forget being a backup goalie, where you recognize that's your role, and you're only going to get in once every 4 or 5 games, just as a simple example. 3 goalies now all of a sudden have to get their touches in.
Yeah.
And unless one guy is just sitting there on reserve, never playing, which can't bode well for, like you said, his overall happiness in the setup. He's not getting touches apart from practice, so is he staying as sharp? Without getting games, we talk about that with backup goalies all the time. Now we're talking third string.
Yeah.
It to me, it's just not a long-term solution. And to Doug's text itself, I would say, like, carrying 3 goalies comes with other detractions because your roster stays the same, whether it's an extra goalie or an extra forward or an extra defenseman. So you make sacrifices elsewhere. And like the E-Bug thing, I don't know. How often do we actually see that come into play? It's so rare.
I
don't know if it's a super relevant talking point about it. But to me, the thing about the 3 goalies is more so how it will impact the rest of your roster and the 3 goalies in the system, as opposed to like, is it fair to the other teams that have to use a real E-Bug? Who cares? How often do we actually see E-Bugs get in the game? And some of the times we do see them get in the game, it's like a blowout contest, and the coach just puts them in there to be like, hey, man, go out there and touch NHL ice. A cool moment for you.
Yes.
Like that. We've seen that more than we've seen actual E-Bugs play games, which has happened only twice, actually, where they've had to come in and try and compete out of necessity. Scott Foster and David Ayres.
That's right.
So,
and that's in the last decade now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ish. It's a great point.
One time I was, when I would have been in grade like 7 or 8, the now U18 team in Delburn, their goalie, one goalie was hurt and wasn't there. Other goalie got in a fight in the game, kicked out. So one of the players just went back into the room, strapped the gear on, like swapped out. They took like an extra long timeout. he came back out and played the rest of the game as the goalie.
Jeez.
And it was an absolute riot. The barn was packed at the Delaware Agriplex. And shout out Kyle Brewster, RIP, awesome kid. And he just came. He'd never played goalie before, apart from when he was like 5.
Wow.
And just came out there and gave it his best foot forward. That's fun.
Yeah.
Do we want to see it at the NHL level? Probably not so much.
Especially the sports betting thing.
Yeah.
Tugging at fans' heartstrings, regardless of betting or not. Yeah, I understand like Doug not agreeing that, and that's fine. But just to me, off the top of my head, I'm like, this creates weird dilemmas that I don't think have seen or dealt with. All of a sudden, now it's a new thing. So anyway, it's just initial reaction. But Doug, thanks for the text. I thought there was more to it or a second part, but I maybe he left it without sending it. So I just thought it was an interesting conversation point. Of course, the title sponsor of the Tom Gazzola Show is Bet365. Check out Bet365's early payout for baseball. When your team goes up by 5 runs, you get paid out immediately. No stress about blowing a big lead. Download the app and see what the early payout's all about. We're going to shift gears to basketball coming up here in hour number 3 of the Gazzola Show with Michael Grange from Sportsnet covering the Raptors. Obviously, big news from the Raps is Kyle Lowry, retires as a Raptor. They had a big announcement. He became a part owner with his wife of the Toronto Tempo of the WNBA. So we'll ask Michael Grange about yesterday's announcement, where Lowry fits in Raptors lore. I know the Groat was being thrown out there, and Fenny's nodding in approval. Absolutely. Will he be a Hall of Famer, Fenny? No. Oh, I'll ask Granger what he thinks about, or Michael Grange what he thinks about it, and maybe a little bit of look ahead to the Raptors' upcoming season. That coming up in hour number 3 here on the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365. But before we go to break, we do need to get to a sports update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Here's Brandon.
The Sports 1440 update.
Final day of round of 16 action at the World Cup. Yesterday, Argentina comes back late and scores in stoppage time to defeat Egypt 3-2 and advance through to the quarterfinals, where they would take on Switzerland, who defeated Colombia in penalties 4-3 after a 0-0 draw through extra time in what was the final game on Canadian soil at BC Place. In the majors last night, the Blue Jays come back to beat the Giants 9-3 after getting whomped the night previous. 9-3 the final. Jonathan Clase homering in his first start of the season for the Jays. Elsewhere, around a full slate of Major League Baseball, Yankees strike out a record 17 times, losing to the Rays 6-4. And Ryan O'Hearn, how's this for a night? 3 home runs, 10 RBIs en route to the Pirates' 12-4 win over the Braves. In the WCL, Riverhawks fall to the Nanaimo Night Owls 12-4 yesterday afternoon from Remax Field. And some news out of the CFL this morning, as the Hamilton Tiger Cats have signed American quarterback Jarrett Dagey as a supplement to the injured Bo Levi Mitchell underwent surgery on his ankle. Dagey joins former Elk and Canadian Trey Ford as part of the quarterback room now in Hamilton. Coming up in hour 3 of the Tom Gazzola Show, we'll be joined by Michael Grange from Sportsnet covering the Toronto Raptors, and we'll hear today's edition of Cam and Eggs. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Home ice advantage is real at the rink and on your windows. Novo Blinds is Edmonton's own custom manufacturer, trusted by customers around the city. Factory direct pricing with the fastest turnaround around. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
Summit Restaurant, Located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common, Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
The Tom Gazzola Show. All gas, no brakes. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
.903, good morning. It's the Tom Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365. You can watch us on YouTube as well as listen on Sports 1440 on the AM dial. Drop us a like and a subscription. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Of course, streaming on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and sports1440.ca. Join the conversation. Text us 1-833-401-1440. We want to hear from you. Doug, thank you for your reply in regard to the e-bug situation. Maybe we'll circle back to that. There was a two-parter to that text, but we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk a little bit of basketball, talk the Raptors, big offseason for them. Feel-good story yesterday with Kyle Lowry retiring as a Raptor, one-day contract there. And to discuss it all, we bring in Michael Grange from Sportsnet, covering the Raptors for a long time. Great to have him on this new show. Michael, thank you so much for hopping on today. I know there's so much to talk about with the Raps. Appreciate it very much. Take us through yesterday, the retirement, doing it as a member of the Raptors for Kyle Lowry. What does that mean to the city, to Raptors fans, and to Lowry himself? Because he's an interesting character and was throughout his career.
Yeah, it's a really great way to end a remarkable story. And, Kyle Lowry is, just off the top, he is the most important, the greatest Raptor in the franchise history. And I think Raptors general manager Bobby Webster put it well. He said, when you look at the Raptors 30, I think we're heading into 31 years now, your history, there's before Kyle and after Kyle. And the 9 years that Lowry played here were easily the most successful. It wasn't just him, but I think he set a standard and helped bring people up to it. But what I think makes it so special in a way is it wasn't preordained. When he arrived in Toronto, he had a kind of a bumpy NBA career, playing, kind of a couple of different teams had moved on from him. He arrived in Toronto by trade. He would admit that his first year or two in Toronto, he had no intentions of staying. It was very much about him kind of improving his value and moving on to greener pastures. And, he was able while here to recognize the opportunity, to take advantage of it. And he grew, he would say he matured. The team kind of grew around him. And, in the space of those 9 years, he went from not exactly a fringe NBA player, but a guy who was, kind of borderline whether his career was going to thrive or kind of fall by the wayside to, a potential Hall of Famer and the face of a franchise. And so those bumps along the road, the kind of, the trajectory of it, I think makes the story that much richer. And I think it's a big reason why Raptors fans are so invested in him, because they've seen him grow and come such a long way.
What was he like to deal with day to day? Because, the way he was embattled and seemed to have a chip on his shoulder and was willing to share his opinion on things at certain times, maybe created some friction and I don't know if friendships is the right term, but professional working relationships could have friction from that. How would you describe the day to day with Kyle Lowry when he was a Raptor?
Well, I think the most important thing to know about Lowry is number one, I think he was an excellent teammate. And one thing that you see and hear, and even yesterday, when his former teammates kind of celebrating him, is he was a guy that if you were in a locker room with, you could count on, and he was kind of there for you in all aspects. But he was a tough personality, very demanding of himself, very demanding of the people around him. There was friction with coaches, kind of at various steps in his career, and almost in a way daily. And I don't mean that to be he was a complete. I don't want to overstate it too much, but he was such a smart player and such a demanding player that if you were coaching him, you really had to bring it. And if you didn't think you had the right game plan or picking out the right matchups or whatever it might be, he was gonna, there was some show me there.
Yeah.
And, but because it was tied to the level of competitiveness he played with, the fearlessness he played with, and the unselfishness that, was kind of his trademark, it worked. You know what I mean? So a lot of the sparks, to the extent there were, it wasn't necessarily about making things better for him, get me more shots, get me more touches. It was more about, let's make it better for us. And that's I think a pretty reasonable formula. And, I remember doing a story about Fred VanVleet, who was, kind of in some ways mentored by Kyle, but in a lot of ways as a younger player kind of helped smooth Kyle out. And Fred has a lot of the qualities Kyle does, but is a really smart guy with how he can express himself and communicate with people and connect with people. And I remember talking to Kyle about Fred, and he says, we think and see the same things. He just says it better than me. and eloquent. It wasn't eloquent. It was just he could do it without stepping on people's toes, maybe. Anyway, but he's a three-dimensional guy, but I think for all of that, the thing that's probably most important about him is the things that really matter. He was a great teammate. He's really into the community. He was, his family is, you talk to people. Alvin Williams is a great friend of his. Again, I think about 10 years older. But Kyle, in turn, Alvin would tell you, Kyle was a resource for him when he became a father. Like he's just a guy who, if you're in his circle, he's got a lot to offer, and he's definitely willing to do it. But as I said, he can be prickly, but that's part of what makes him great.
Yeah, part of his charm, certainly. Michael Grange joining us now from Sportsnet, talking about the Raptors. Obviously, big news with Kyle Lowry and his retirement as a Raptor. A lot of people talking about the Hall of Fame thing for him. In your opinion, does he get in?
I think he probably does. 6 All-Stars, a championship, a gold medal. That's kind of, and I think he also maybe benefits from it, even if his counting stats, so-called, are they're not what you would normally look at and say Hall of Fame worthy. I think because we've kind of advanced a little bit in terms of looking at basketball in a 360-degree way, using analytics and things like that. his impact is more broadly recognized. Like he was a top 20, top 15 player for a long stretches of his prime. If you looked at, say, the broader analytics numbers versus just scoring or just, piling up assists, but he had some pretty good years doing that too. So I think he's maybe borderline, but the NBA Hall of Fame isn't the most restrictive. Like it's guys do get in without maybe resumes that it's a lot easier to get in, let's say, than baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, I think he's borderline, but 20 years, one of the only guys of his size to ever play 20 years, one of the only NBA players to ever play 20 years, and then his peaks being as high as they were. I hope he gets in. I think he deserves it. It would say a lot about basketball if he's in, because he's a different kind of Hall of Famer than your standard. You look at Vince Carter. Vince Carter got in. But you could argue that Kyle Lowry had a more impactful career.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And there was some talk about Lowry's supposed to be the first Raptor to have his number retired, but Vince, they gave it to him as part of the 30th anniversary, and it had Lowry's blessing and all that. So if they smooth that out, then great. But it's interesting to hear the ins and outs of that story and what goes on behind the scenes with the Raptors. And speaking of stuff that's going on and stuff that's a look ahead to next year, Michael, where is this Kawhi trade at with the Clippers? Is there still some moving parts here? Like what's your understanding of the situation right now?
They're just at these I think there's a lot of, basically these trades have to be approved by the league office. I think there's a lot of trades that are being worked through. I think with Kawhi Leonard, and you look at some of the scandal, let's say his name has been caught up with regarding the Clippers. I think that there's probably extra effort being put in to make sure that everything around this transaction is above board and transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another factor going on here is each of Brandon Ingram and Kawhi Leonard have pretty lengthy medical histories that take time to work out and sort out. So all of that to say, I think it'll be made official sooner rather than later, but it might not be this week, could be next week. There's no like Kawhi Leonard was in Toronto yesterday. He was at Kyle Lowry's retirement event. I don't think there's any possibility this trade is going to fall through. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time to get it all tightened up. There is a couple of elements of negotiation required, and one is what's Kawhi Leonard going to do with his trade. He has a trade kicker that he has the option of waiving, which could affect the Raptors' salary cap structure, whether he does or not. And then, the actual number around a 2-year extension that needs to be negotiated. And in years past, maybe with a different player, some of that stuff would have been all taken care of under the table.
Mm-hmm.
And there wouldn't have been much, but I think in this case, there's probably a lot of pains taken to make sure it's done, as I said, transparently and by the book. So, and the Raptors' salary cap structure is so tight that, and literally every dollar they can save in any direction matters as to how they can move forward, shaping the roster in the short term. So I think there's probably just a lot of little P's and Q's that need to be figured out.
When the dust settles and the T's are crossed and the lowercase J's are dotted on the deal, of what kind of team are we looking at in 26-27 with the Raptors and Kawhi coming back?
It's a better team. No offense to Brandon Ingram, who had a really good year last year. He was an all-star, played 77 games, led the team in scoring. But Kawhi Leonard is just a significantly better player. And he was last year. And he's a better player, I think, in the way the Raptors need, especially in that, in addition to being a strong isolation scorer, he's really good in transition, and he can really shoot. So that gives the offense a little bit more breathing room. And then defensively, he's, at 35, I don't think he's running around picking guys up full court. But for any given possession against any given player, he's still maybe the best defender in the league. So, and, will probably retire as one of the best wing defenders of all time. So for those reasons, the Raptors are a better team. I think there's going to be internal growth here in Las Vegas for Summer League, and a big focus is going to be, what steps can Colin Murray-Boyles take? What steps can Jamal Shedd and Jacoby Walter take? These are young players that played really well last season, but they need to be that much better if the Raptors are going to improve on being a first-round playoff team. If I were to handicap it, I would say, the Raptors they're probably one of 6 teams, maybe 7, that have an inside track at being a top 4 team, which mean hosting the first 2 rounds of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I don't think as they stand now, they're a championship team. I think they don't shoot the ball probably well enough overall, and they got some questions at center in terms of its depth, both with Jakob Poeltl and his health and his effectiveness and depth around him. So those are 2 pretty big, differentiators between the very best teams that are, true inside contenders for a championship and a Raptors team, which I think promises to be good, promises to be effective. I think defensively they could be very special, but I don't know, sure, just as they stand now, they're a team you would look at and go could win an NBA title.
Hey, as long as the hype is building, that's good. Onward and upward for the Toronto Raptors. Michael, thanks for the time this morning. Enjoy Vegas. Stay cool down there. I know it's super hot this time of year, so we appreciate it, and thanks for hopping on today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
There's Michael Grange covering the Raptors for Sportsnet and the NBA. Awesome stuff there. Fenny, big basketball guy. Did you like what Michael had to say about the Raptors going forward? The Hall of Fame stuff?
Yeah, I agree with him that they need more shooting. However, I also think the team just like with Kawhi they get exponentially better, but they still need to figure out their outside presence more. But yeah, I like Grange every time he comes on. He's a smart guy, well informed.
Yeah,
it's just glad he's around the team.
He's been covering them for a long time. Does great work. Glad to have him on the show. Thank you, Brandon, for getting him on today. Appreciate that. Matt and Leduc with this text. Kawhi's looking up tree farms in the Toronto area before he agrees. Aha. Perhaps in the Boreal Forest. Somewhere close by. A hop, skip, and a jump away. Well played, Matt and Leduc. Well played. We got to step out for a quick break. When we come back, more of your texts. We'll get into some of the sports world and what's gone on. Felix Auger-Aliassime drops a heartbreaker 5.5 hours at Wimbledon yesterday to the Joker. Good to see him in the quarters, but a tough loss for Felix. Maybe we'll get into some other stuff as we roll on here on the Gazzola Show. Presented by Bet365. We'll be back right after this.
Cougar Paint and Collision is Edmonton's go-to for auto body repairs, but client requests sometimes go off the rails.
Once you start doing the oddball things for people, it sometimes becomes second nature. One of the strangest things that we painted at the shop was a set of stairs for a mansion, and we had to paint 42 steel stringer stairs. Yeah, it was strange. Somebody doesn't think to go, wow, I need my stairs painted. Let's go to an auto body shop.
Cougar Paint and Collision. Our family helping your family.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax. All summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Kickoff is coming July 9th. Elks, Red Blacks at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Salute to Service presented by YEG Plus. Help us celebrate the heroes and first responders who make our communities great. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Canada's men's rugby team at Clark Stadium, July 11th. Don't miss an international doubleheader as Canada takes on Portugal and Tonga battles Spain. Build the home field advantage for Team Canada. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Boxing Week is back at the Brick. Don't wait until winter. Get blowout pricing now. Save 55% off sofas when you buy the matching piece. Save up to 25% off bedroom and dining. Save up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, get free local delivery when you use your Flexity card. And buy more, save more. Up to $500 off select major appliances. Don't miss the return of Boxing Week, only at the Brick. Exclusions apply. See in store for details.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Mr. Rooter has deja vu. Mr. Rooter has deja vu.
The bathroom is right over there, Mr. Rooter.
Thank you, good sir. Wait, I swear I've plunged this toilet before. It was clogged with a snow globe. Am I living in a time loop? Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Whew, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your fix. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Yo, listen.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Year-old Tom was jamming to that track nonstop. The year was 2000. Graphics sucked, but that song rocked. It is the Tom Gazzola Show here on Sports 1440, presented by Bet365. You got Brendan Douglas and Josh Fenwick in studio. Join the conversation as always. 1-833-401-1440. We've got Cam and Eggs coming up a little bit later. We're going to go to In or Out with Brandon. And then hour number 4, we've got Gord Stellick stopping by as well. And more of your texts. I like getting to text. Some people are texting in saying, new show. It's not really a new show. New host. Take callers, you coward. I'll tell you what,
second day in a row, someone in that chair has been called a coward.
I may have added the coward.
Well,
thing.
that's okay, but someone actually did call Declan a coward yesterday.
Oh no, why?
A refusal to go into the numbers, the statistics about Evan Bouchard's penalty kill ability. He says, do a deep dive. You won't, you coward. And so then in the final segment we did, and then we just read the numbers as requested, and then we just got more blowback from others texters saying, those numbers don't tell the whole story. And we're like, we never said they did. We're just reading the numbers as requested by this one specific text.
Okay.
So
Okay.
listen,
okay.
you're no stranger to this, Tommy. You can't win sometimes with the texters. We love to have them. We want as many of them as possible. But the reality is, can't win.
You can't win. It's so true. A little while ago, we used to take calls on the post-game show. We wouldn't take calls very often. I'd fill in on the other shows on the old station, 1260. A lot of times it went sideways. And especially on post-game shows after a few social sparklers and rage, and it's not a good mix, and people needed to vent, and they chose our post-game show to use that platform as their venting platform. It wouldn't be good. And it was crazy. Like, we would get more complaints about the calls than the team when we took the calls. Not all of them, but most of them. And then when we started EST, we're like, no calls on the post-game show, just text. So I understand like the desire for calls because people, you want to chat. It's a sports radio show. But it doesn't, it seems to piss people off. And by people, we mean other listeners. And we want you to keep listening and to tell your friends.
Guess what? We can accomplish that just by reading the text message.
That is true.
And I texted back the individual that had texted in saying, come on, give it a fresh facelift, take callers, talk to the people. It's like, dude, these phone lines are open every second of every show. Have been since we launched. And we've tried, like, call in if you want. It's just like, it's 2026. People have no interest in calling in when the convenience of texting in is at their fingertips.
It's true. And I'm keeping tabs on the text line. I always do. I always have. I like the text line. I like getting back to people. I try to get back to as many people. The YouTube element is a newer one. It's a good one. Some people just love YouTube, right? You can get it right on your TV, and people like to text via the chat. Sometimes I hop in there, keep tabs on it, but mostly on the text line. But yeah, the take calls, fresh start. It's like, well, I understand. Here's my experience with calls. And usually there's a lot of blowback. But you've been hurt, and I acknowledge your thought. And I guess, as my parents would say, whenever I asked for something they wouldn't give me eventually, they would just end it with, we'll see, Tommy. So we'll see. Anyway, hey, we have tickets to the Elks game to give away.
Yeah, really cool initiative we're doing all summer long during the weeks of Elks home games, which, hey, tomorrow night, Commonwealth Stadium, this fits the bill. So all you have to do is text the word Elks to our text line, 1-833-401-1440, and that automatically enters you for a chance to win a pair of tickets every week. So you just, like, each week it'll restart. So let's kind of rewind it back to Monday. We've already given away a few sets over the course of the week, and we'll do so continuing today and into tomorrow. Obviously, nothing on Friday since the game is Thursday night. So super simple. Yeah, just text Elks to 1-833-401-1440, and you're automatically entered. So I would just say, if you can't go to the game or don't want to go to the game, don't text in just for the sake of doing so.
Don't.
Because then we'll message you saying, hey, congrats, you won the tickets through the randomizer. And then he's like, oh, I can't use them, give it to someone else. Then why did you text in?
Yeah.
So that would be my only follow-up if I could. So.
All right. Text in Elks, 1-833-401-1440. If you want to go to the game, we would have prize pigs. Do we have prize pigs here on our station yet? Maybe not.
What is that?
Is
this a derogatory term?
Maybe it is. Maybe I should. But like my dad on K97, I'm sure they have his name flagged.
I see what you mean. Like the people that they only text in when it comes to,
or call. They used to call it. My dad would be all over. He loves
I see what you
radio
mean.
stations.
Now that you say that does take me back to my excellent education at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology in the RATV program.
Our alma mater.
The great Pat Galenza bestowed that term on us at one point or another, just as a heads up. I don't know if I would say we have those here, because we do some giveaways, and we have trivia. Like on Fridays, we give away rounds of golf with the CCT during the golf or the G-Man. Yep. We attach trivia to that, though. Try and make it a little bit more difficult, which is almost moot in today's information age. A quick Google search gets you the answer to anything. But
I know.
I think people that text in all the time then are also interested in winning prizes and giveaways when we have them. So that's great. It means that people are constantly engaged.
It's what we want. It's a good thing. We like it. Text in Elks if you want tickets to tomorrow's game. Engage with us. We appreciate it very much. Montana to Rice says, Tommy never gets back to me. I do. I read your texts. Don't try to make me feel guilt.
And here's the thing, Tom. For MTR, as the shorthand goes here on the station, he's been a day one guy.
Yep.
And I think some people, he had almost had a rivalry with Carius.
Okay.
So they, in a friendly one.
Yeah.
And they had bets about the Niners last season, and MTR won this beer from Kevin, never came to pick it up. So he said, you guys can just drink it. And we did. Same goes for this bottle of whiskey that I still think is sitting in my cubby because
what kind?
I don't even know. I told Kevin just to get him silk tassel, but I think he got him something a little bit nicer than that. And it was a different listener. Same thing. It was like a bet.
Yeah.
About the Niners, and Kevin lost. He paid up, but he's like, you got to come pick it up at the station. He never has. So who knows how much longer until we crack into that ourselves.
Hey, if it's there's only a certain amount of time you can wait before you can't come pick it up anymore. Maybe that's an in-house rule. I don't know. But if you just leave it there and you know it's there, then I think it's fair game after a certain amount of time. Statute of limitations, right?
Exactly.
Something like that. Pillman texting in before we get to Cam and Eggs, talking about the call-in. Says, the old drunk post-gamers were my favorite. And then Justin, who I remember, and he was very heartfelt. I was going to say emotional, maybe sometimes, but heartfelt with his calls. Says, guilty as charged, Tommy. Good to hear from you, Justin. It's an adventure with the calls sometimes, and you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you just don't want to deal with the risk. Anyway, this show will find its own groove, rhythm. I've said it. I mean, it's a new host. People love KK, and for good reason. I love KK, for crying out loud. But the essence of it stays the same, in my opinion. It's just new nuances will develop, in my opinion. We'll see. Time will tell. But we're glad to have you along for the ride. Okay, one thing that will continue on is Cam Tate's Cam and Eggs. Going in blind to this one. Not sure what to expect. It's ready to go, Brando. Also, we need to get to that too, because I haven't called you the Duke very often.
Yeah, some people are oddly concerned about that.
Yeah.
And I just tell them, I'm like, that was a nickname that nobody had ever, Kevin made it up, which is Carius's staple of his personality. He just makes up nicknames out of the blue. He calls people title, and I heard it with guests that he goes back with. No one else called these people these nicknames except Kevin Carius. And that's fine. It's fun. It's like a kind of a unique thing amongst him and the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I would count myself among them. But nicknames, and you've been in lots of locker rooms, played lots of sports, Tommy. You can't force them. So it's just like a natural flow. We're just kind of feeling it out and see what's going to fit best.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kevin called me the Duke. I'm sure.
I've known you as Brandon Douglas for the last 4 years.
Exactly. And I'm sure just because of association, Schlemmer and Eddie and Laddie might still have that in their vernacular. But yeah, we're just kind of going, just like you said about the show, finding our footing, finding our rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of part of it, in my opinion.
I'm 100% in lockstep with you. Also, quick shout out to Schlemmer, who's on the shelf right now. I'm looking forward to working with him. I can't wait. And it's too bad he couldn't make it in today. Next week, hopefully he's good to go. I'll throw out the get well soon. We want you to get well. So yeah, I was a little bummed out when you told me Schlemmer wasn't going to be able to make it in today. On the shelf, IR for the time being. Get well, buddy. And I look forward to doing some radio with you next week. Okay, Cam and Eggs, ready to rock? Brandon Douglas, let's hear it.
July 8th. The privilege. Remember when we were young? How many times were we told after we misbehaved? Something you never, ever did, right, Tommy? The playing with our friends was not a right. It was a privilege. Keyword, privilege. Do something wrong, and that privilege was gone. Remember the feeling? Sitting on the steps while our friends played, or, if we were really bad, parked on the couch by the front window. A pane of glass between us and the game. It taught us something. If we were good people, opportunities were there, all over the world if we wanted. Yesterday, the International Olympic Committee took Russia off the steps. Suspension lifted. Welcome back. Remember why Russia got sent to the steps? In 2023, mid-invasion, it claimed the sports councils of occupied Ukrainian regions as its own. It didn't just break the rules, it walked into another kid's yard and called it home. For 2 Olympics, Russians competed as neutrals. No flag, no anthem. Now, the door to Los Angeles 2028 is wide open, and the war, still on. The same week the IOC made its decision, Russian missiles and drones hit Kyiv twice. More than 50 people dead. No peace, no ceasefire, no sorry. The IOC president says athletes shouldn't pay for the actions of their government. Tell that to Ukraine's athletes, training in shelters, burying teammates. They're paying for somebody else's. This is fundamentally wrong, because the timeout was never just about the kid on the steps. It was about what every other kid on the street learned watching. So here's the question I can't shake. Will parents now let their kids go out and play, even after they've done something wrong? Because the biggest playground on earth just blinked. When the consequence ends while the behavior continues, that isn't punishment. That's permission. And if the Olympics, the very place that taught the world that playing together is a privilege, keyword privilege, now treats it like a right, then the IOC hasn't just reopened a door, it has redefined punishment. Our parents knew better. We didn't get off those steps by outlasting them. We got off when we said sorry and meant it. Cam and Eggs, Sports, 1440.
Cam and Eggs, that's a deep one. If you didn't catch it, the IOC, I'm going off of AP article from yesterday, eases its path toward Russia returning with full team at 2028 LA Olympics. Cam laid it out there. Consequences, right? This war, the incursion, what the Russians are calling it, it's cost them on the international stage, and rightly so. Well said, Cam, as always. Here's the quote that I was reading in the article from IOC President Kirsty Coventry. She said, "We don't want to hold athletes accountable for the actions of their governments." Okay. But Russian athletes, especially, like, obviously it's well documented, have also been caught cheating and doping. Like, they have done zero to build trust with the rest of the international sporting community in them to be fair competitors on top of the war. So, Cam, I'm with Cam on this one. I don't want to punish the athletes who are not involved in the war and their government's going to war with Ukraine, a war I don't agree with and don't like. I think it's terrible. But at the same time, this is a body of, or a sport body in Russia and athletes who are probably waiting to compete again under the Russian flag that have doped. And yes, they're not the only ones and not the only country and sporting body that gets busted for doping, but they always seem to be the worst and the most flagrant about it. Just my 2 cents. Anybody want to chip in on that? Go for it. No? Brando? You're just going to leave that one?
Sorry, Tom. I thought that was a
No,
question.
that's okay.
I thought that was
leave
a
me
question
hanging. That's fine.
to the listeners.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a question directly.
Oh, the listeners will probably
me,
chime
but,
in.
But no, I think I really agree with pretty much everything you echoed there. And yeah, as you like, very well put by Cam, as per usual.
Darcy says, fantastic segment from Cam. Rod texting in says, what is happening in Ukraine? So sad and wrong. Russia not participating in Olympics. However, shouldn't there be equal treatment for other aggressors like US and Israel? Yeah. And Rod, I mean, that opens up a whole different can of worms. And those are conversations that are not fun to have. I don't like going down that route, but keeping it within the parameters of Cam and Eggs and on the Russia situation. For them, Yes, I'd like their athletes who follow the rules and don't dope and want to be participants and competitors in the Olympics to have that opportunity. But at the same time, their reputation stinks. It's foul. It's the worst. And I know, like, on the hockey side of things, we want to see the best teams on the world stage, and Russia's one of them. But come on, what they're doing and what they have done is wrong. So it can be touchy, but well done, Cam, handling that one. So if you didn't catch the news, one more time, IOC eases path toward Russia returning with full team at 2028 LA Olympics. All right, we're going to step out. When we return, it will be in or out with Brandon. I'm looking forward to this one, as always. Looking forward to hearing from you. 1-833-401-1440. This is the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
The Riverhawks are back, and the fun is too. Catch Italian Plumber Video Game Night, Star Wars with a post-game fireworks show, and kids crash the park Sunday with a poster giveaway presented by Save On Foods. Bring the family. Kids tickets from $10 at gohawks.ca.
Early mornings just got louder. For the hottest takes and the sports stories that actually matter to Edmonton, you need Tom Gazzola. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440 at 833-401-1440.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Calling all animal lovers. Grab your leash, gather your family, and join Subaru and Scars for the 22nd annual Tails on the Trails Family Fun Day and Pledge Walk, Saturday, July 11th at Lions Park. Bring your furry best friend and enjoy a day packed with fun, including a 2.5 or 5 kilometer pledge walk, great vendors, silent auction items, a barbecue, and even pet-friendly beer gardens. Join Subaru on July 11th at Lions Park, St. Albert. We'll see you at Tails on the Trails, sponsored by Subaru. Welcome to Uncommon.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and 5 years ago, a lot of people bought their first RV. Not because they were really into the RVing, but because camping was literally the only thing you could do with your vacation time. You couldn't go on a cruise, travel was a nightmare. So you bought an RV, and you enjoyed it. But now you have all your options back again, and that RV you bought during COVID might be sitting around costing you money.
An RV needs love, care, and attention whether you use it or not, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. It's okay to declare it was the right solution for the time, but those times have changed, and you might find that an RV doesn't fit your plans anymore. And that's okay, because we can sell it for you. Pass it along to a family that would choose camping over anything else available in the world today. So bring it to Noble RV. Together, we'll celebrate what it did for you when you needed it and what it can do for you now that it's time to move on.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
How can you feel bad listening to a song like that in the morning? A little pick me up, La Samaria. off the MLB The Show 26 soundtrack. Good morning. It is the Gazzola Show presented by Bet365. Here on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you as well. Thank you, Brandon, for playing that. I told you I was like,
it's catchy. It's catchy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You were spot on with your assessment.
Yeah, people are, what the hell is that? It's a catchy song. A little Latino.
Gets you moving a little bit, gets the shoulder shimmying.
It makes you smile.
If your feet are on the ground, they got to be tapping.
That's right.
Hips wiggling.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for indulging me. I appreciate that. Really do. It's time to get to In or Out. Brought to you by Pro Solutions. Need fast AC service? Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca. Let's do it, Brendan.
Okay. You know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line. Are you in or are you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions. Just action. In or out.
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
The NHL's offseason, it slowed down. Need a decision today from the Utah Mammoth about the Barrett Hayton offer sheet. We'll wait the decision on Leo Carlson as the week progresses to Friday's deadline. But otherwise, pretty slow moving out there right now. There are still some names on the free agency market and lots of text, lots of discussion here in Edmonton about if the Oilers will dip back in here in the second wave of activity. You know, Patrick Kane, Vlad Tarasenko, Anthony Mantha, all names of interest to supplement the team's middle six. But I think the club would be better suited, turning their attention to the trade market to address any remaining needs. And I'm also going to add on here, I don't think they need to do so anytime soon.
I'm in with you on that one, Brandon. It's like a mad dash, it feels like, not just in this market, but other markets in the hockey world at free agency to fix all the problems, quote unquote. And if certain teams don't address all the needs that are perceived by the fan base is irked, understandably so, because they want the best team all the time right now, minimize the patience because you get excited. It's free agent frenzy for a reason. But as we've learned with the Oilers in recent years, a team at the start of the year, roster-wise, can improve by midpoint with little tweaks here and there. Maybe a guy's playing well down on the farm, gets called up, has an impact in the big leagues with the big club. That can happen. Or trades are made midseason and the team gets a little bit better that way. So we're all guilty of getting very excited at and around free agent frenzy. But a team can go from solid to contender midseason and especially late season if the right moves are pulled off at the deadline.
Yeah, the Oilers have not had this luxury of flexibility against the cap in recent years, right? It's always been dollars in, dollars out, come deadline and things like that. I just don't understand this desire to rush into, as you kind of said there, Tom, to use this money just because it's available. It's like if you've got your allowance at the end of the week from your parents, like you don't have to go and spend it all on bubblegum and Slurpees on Saturday morning when you get it on Friday afternoon.
And hockey cards.
If that's what tickles your fancy. You can hold on to it. You can save it. Yeah. And now there are some long-term benefits we know about accruing cap space and all these unique features. But like forget about the technical stuff. It's just a matter of you don't need to be up against the cap from the day the season starts.
Touche.
And listen, isn't it a signing of Tarasenko or Patrick Kane or whomever, Mantha, like are these names going to do that? Are they is their price tag going to be the point where it eliminates every dollar of space the Oilers have? I wouldn't think so. But right now you have a roster. Like you've already got a couple extra forwards that you expect to be NHL players this year to duke it out for probably the final spot or two at the bottom end of it.
Yep.
We talked about the D group yesterday. We know you've got 3 goalies. Like, is there harm in seeing what you've got at least
no
through training camp, preseason, and kind of saying like, all right, let's see it, assess it, and then if we need to go and further supplement, we can do so at that time or give it more runway. Month or two of the season, 4 months of the season. We know injuries happen.
Yep.
So I'm definitely in the camp of patience, preaching it and seeing what's available or what's needed, and then what's available, because we know how that can change as seasons get going and teams fall in and out of contention.
I'm with you. The thirst, though, is unquenchable.
It's all, but you just want something to happen. And so what's the first instinct? Well, our team should be the ones to make something happen. And of course, in Edmonton, that it always seems to circle around the Oilers. Our off-season check-ins around the rest of the league stopped today in Tampa Bay with a chat with Eduardo Encina earlier in the program. Victor Hedman and his status after not playing this past year continues to be very much in question. And should he play, what type of player at this stage of his career are the Tampa Bay Lightning going to get? As a result of this, listen, they signed John Carlson. We know Ryan McDonough's there. Carlson was the big name on the D side of free agency on July 1. But I'm still set and believing that J.J. Moser is actually the most important piece on the Lightning's blue line.
And they paid up for him.
Yes.
To show him how they feel about his status going forward. $6.75 million defenseman for Yanni Jerome Moser, or J.J. Moser. That's interesting with Victor Hedman. Obviously, a tremendous defenseman for a long time in this league. A game changer, certainly. The Carlson thing, another older defenseman, Eduardo Encina talking about that. I would think that Hedman will still be a very important piece to the blue line, but maybe this is the time of transition where he starts to fade a little bit and the minutes come down, the impact not as big as it once was, but still a useful defenseman in his later NHL years. There's probably going to be a bunch of rust coming off of not playing for a while, but he's the type of guy and just has the physical attributes, being a giant of a human being, being at the top of the game for so long, where I think he would be able to shake it off relatively quickly. You hope, you're a Lightning fan especially, and that there's some runway left with Carlson as well to make sure this back end is decent for a Tampa team that probably thinks it's a contender and probably should be looked at as a contender as well. But yeah, look at this blue line, boys. 36, 35, 26, 29, 37, 28, and 25. So,
and of those ages, the names that are attached to them,
yep,
like all the younger guys, those are the more unknowns, the depth pieces. Like
yes,
your big dogs are those 36, 35, and 37-year-olds. Now, Chernak and Moser at 26 and 29, they're, to me, that next wave of guys that they expect to step up and take on more responsibility. They certainly had to last year with the injuries this blue line. I mean, I just remember it so vividly because we were on the bus to a Critter game, Tom, and we were watching it on the screens there on the bus when the Oilers were in Tampa Bay in what would have been like late November-ish, somewhere around there. And the blue line that the Lightning iced that night, I'd never heard of half of them, including a couple guys here like Dustu. We know Declan Carlisle has moved on in free agency, but some of these players, you say, who are these guys? And they acquitted themselves very well. But I thought the likes of Darren Radish, obviously now in Toronto, and Moser were kind of the real linchpins of that group last year with the injuries they suffered. And I'm like, self-admitted, a huge J.J. Moser fan. I think criminally underrated across the league. Can play both ways at 6'7", AAV for what could very well be your number one guy sooner rather than later in terms of a two-way type force. Man, you're laughing if you're Julien Brisebois at that price tag. And the rumor is he was kind of the primary piece headed back to Columbus in a potential Zach Werenski deal.
Oof. Well, like you said, Eduardo Encina talking about how Julien Brisebois operates. It's the importance is the now, but there's always an element of down the road in how he operates. So I think you see that with J.J. Moser and the value he brings and the recognition there. So well said, Brando.
Yesterday, Kyle Lowry signing a one-day contract, officially retiring as a Raptor. Seems to be seemingly less and less debate about his standing among all-time Raptors. It seems to be growing consensus that he is, in fact, the best to ever don the jersey during his time with the club. But now, new questions about his Hall of Fame candidacy, have arisen. And you had this little chat with Michael Grange as well earlier this hour. Listen, I think he's a no doubt greatest Raptor of all time. but I don't think he's got the numbers to make his way into the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame.
I hope he gets in. So I'll go. I'm out on this one because I hope he gets in, but that's me just having a positive outlook on it to represent the Raptors in the Hall of Fame, for the Raptors and Lowry to get some recognition. And I know, Toronto being the only Canadian team in the NBA, it's an outlier. I feel like there's probably still a stigma around the league in regard to Toronto and Canada and players not really understanding what it's all about. And then when they get there, like Kyle Lowry did, going, oh, this is awesome. Hey, this is very comfortable. Nice to live here. It's not cold as I thought, because Toronto is south of Detroit, is it not?
I think technically, yes.
Yeah, like there's these like epiphanies that some players have coming up from the United States when they get to Toronto. So I'm out on that about him not being a Hall of Famer, just because selfishly I'd like to see Toronto get some love in the Hall of Fame and some representation from Kyle Lowry, because I think that would be a great thing. It's kind of like the Expos and the Jays in baseball's Hall of Fame as well. That's how I kind of view it as a non-hardcore basketball fan. And then, the Raptors, if they win, that's great. If they don't win, I'm just like, okay, well, next game, hopefully things go better for you. I'm not invested as much as some people when it comes to the Raptors.
So basketballreference.com actually has this like probability of players to make the Hall of Fame. And they currently rank Lowry at 85.7%, which seems pretty high to me. I that is much higher than I would have guessed it was just on a blind assumption. So maybe he's got a stronger case than I'm giving him credit for, but think like the intangibles that he brings, like those are unquestioned, right? He's obviously got the ring, his competitive nature, the intelligence as a player. Those are all great, but they are so tough to measure when you're talking of like the Hall of Fame is supposed to be the Hall of Fame. And I am a big proponent of everything, like each league, whether it be the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Hockey Hall of Fame. I do think they should be a little tighter on allowing people in. I don't think it should go as far as how tight baseball can be at times. Like baseball's crazy, but there has to be a happy medium where like you be one of the very best of your generation to get in. And Lowry has a lot of things going for him, but I just think like the numbers, they aren't enough. And in a game like basketball, where I think so much of it is about actual production and impacting the game from a statistical perspective, I don't know if they're there. I love him as a player. I always root for these type of guys that are the dogs, the competitors, the unheralded. But Hall of Fame should be a little more prestige for me.
I understand. Fenny was shaking his head. The 87.5%. I'm always curious about the voting system too for each Hall of Fame. Fenny, do you want to jump in real quick? Give a thought on that.
I'm in Duke. It's or Brandon or whatever it is we're calling
I'm the guy.
All right, producer boy,
buddy guy.
Fella.
Oh yeah,
oh,
we
fella.
got to talk fella.
I'm in, fella. Just the counting numbers aren't there. He averaged 20 a game in his career twice, 8 assists or more once in his career. Like, yeah, he has a ring. Yes, he's a 6-time All-Star. I made the joke yesterday. Oh, he came 10th in MVP voting in 2016. Just like, I love Kyle Lowry, but I agree with you. The Hall of Fames need to be tighter, not baseball type, but they do need to be tighter. And I think Kyle Lowry, as much as I love him, he'd
be a first ballot Hall of Very Good.
Absolutely. He is a first ballot Hall of Very Good guy, but I do not think that he is a Hall of Fame point guard.
Over to the pitch. World Cup is now into the quarterfinals, and we're kind of down to the elites of the elites. A chance to reset some predictions that I know you weren't around for when we made them when the tournament was getting going, Tom, about who is going to hoist the trophy at tournament's end. And now that we are down to the final 8 teams here, I would say France, based on what we've seen through group play in the first couple elimination games, is a pretty clear-cut favorite to win it all in a couple weeks' time.
Ooh, out. Not that I don't like France or that prediction, but I like chaos and I like the magic of the world stage. I feel like the defending champs with the refs on their side or not, like we witnessed yesterday, depending how you feel about the way things shook down. Argentina is going to be there. And you know who's my dark horse is Norway.
Yeah, well, we thought I think that they have garnered a lot of new support.
Yeah.
But I still just wonder, like, as a whole team, like Holland's unreal.
Yeah.
We talk about Messi and how he just kind of walks around and then makes it happen at a moment's notice. Holland's in the same boat, and the replays of some of his goals are borderline comedic at times, but the physical presence is awesome. So before the tournament, Spain was the odds-on favorite, plus 420. Followed closely by France, was plus 460, England plus 650, and then Argentina was plus 1,000 to repeat. Those have shifted. France is now the odds-on favorite at like less than plus money, minus 115.
Damn.
And Argentina is now second in line, Tom. So very sharp by you to hone in on the defending champions. And then England, funnily enough, third in line there at plus 155. Spain rounding up the top four at plus 160. Spain almost like that game against Portugal. You know, we see Ronaldo's finale, all these things, but it wasn't, I felt like, was that maybe the least exciting of every game we saw in the round of 16?
Yeah.
It really had nothing going for it. It did not keep
no magic.
It didn't keep me zoned in on it like so many of these other matches have.
Well, the other matches had craziness happen.
A lot, yeah.
But if you were like looking for just a solid soccer match with, that was a very thorough game, I appreciate the beautiful game and its technical side, then that game might have been for you. But
Maybe.
The other ones have had craziness, which I'm all for. Also, perhaps over at Bet365, Norway's worth a sprinkle.
Oh, you'll find me sprinkling, Tom.
Little sprinkle.
I'm a sprinkler. Today, rounding things out for in or out, is National Video Game Day. This came up on my feed, and I thought this was perfect because we've been talking about your diving into MLB The Show there, Tommy, and for sports video games specifically. GM or franchise modes, you know, they go by many different names and have even changed inside their own franchises over the years. I think they are more fun to play than the Be a Pro individual player forms of gameplay.
I'm in on that. And traditionally, that was my go-to, was the GM or franchise mode, especially in the NHL series, Madden back in the day when I was really deep into that. MVP baseball, like I was telling you guys earlier in the week, that was my jam back on PS2 before I picked up the Show 26. But the caveat here is Road to the Show, I'm enamored with. It's the way they've done it in this game compared to like Be a Pro mode in the NHL series. I remember like the early Be a Pro modes where you'd be your player and then you'd go out for your shift. You'd stick tap when you wanted the puck. It always seemed to find you. You'd stay out there way too long and be too tired because your energy
Just
meter.
floating. You're trying to be messy.
Yeah, you play 48 minutes a game. And like it was flawed, but it was fun. But I think it had a certain you'd burn out from playing it. I am just in love with Road to the Show. If you don't know this, it's the MLB game. As your player, you take your at-bats. And then the fielding plays that, like my guy's a shortstop. If you know it's coming to you or you're going to be involved in the play somehow, you're participating in it. Otherwise, the game essentially simulates the rest of the way through. Fenny he was the pitcher when he was playing it, and he's giving me the finger pistols. He loved that and the sequencing and the challenges of that. So I think Be a Pro mode is not as fun as GM mode traditionally, but I think the way they've done Road to the Show, it's new to me at least, and I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I've never done MLB Road to the Show, so I'll plead ignorance on that. And when it was come to Madden, you'd find me in the individual player, like my quarterback, you know, get drafted, start playing. Joe Kingman, shout out to the game plan starring The Rock and Madison Pettis, number one. And then in hockey, I just got so bored in the Be a Pro mode.
Yeah.
Like bored so quickly, even if you're starting to like play the Memorial Cup at junior, and it's good for a bit, and then it's like, okay, well, yeah, as you said, Tom, you just skate around, you never change, just come across the top of the circles, toe drag,
right?
Bar down snapshot every time, And I haven't played in a lot of years, right hands up. I think the last one I owned was NHL 15. But I don't know how much it could have changed in that time to make it seemingly any better.
I had 21, and it was the same with better graphics.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, what about the physics engine?
It was okay. I find that fluctuates. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes there's glitches. I think I'm done with the NHL series, unfortunately.
Let's just wind it back. Just go full retro. Play only Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel.
Make the pass.
That's right. That was a classic. First game I ever rented for Nintendo when I was a young boy. That was In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. Good stuff from Brandon. I love that video game reference. All right, we went heavy in that segment. We got to step out for a quick break before we do a sports update with the Duke. Brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here's Brandon.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Full set of games once again in the major leagues of baseball, including the Blue Jays wrapping up their set in San Francisco against the Giants for a matinee affair. 1:45 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the hill up against ace Logan Webb, a pair of all-stars taking the bump for the respective clubs. Later on, Orioles hosting the Cubs. The Yankees are in Tampa against the Rays. Mariners play the Marlins. Red Sox against the White Sox on the south side of Chicago. And in the nightcap, Padres hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks. Edmonton Riverhawks continue at home against the Nanaimo. First pitch just after 7 o'clock tonight from Remax Field. And from the CFL, Hamilton Tiger Cats have signed American quarterback Jarrett Dake to join Trey Ford in the quarterback room after the injury and subsequent surgery to Bo Levi Mitchell. Coming up in hour 4 of the Tom Gazzola Show, we'll be joined by Gordon Stellick from SiriusXM NHL Radio. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440,
Stingray radio station.
CKJR, broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Kickoff is coming July 9th. Elks, Red Blacks at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Salute to Service presented by YEG Plus. Help us celebrate the heroes and first responders who make our communities great. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The family at Cougar Paint and Collision are growing, and clan member Cameron remembers his first time in the shop.
I hired myself at Cougar initially. Gordon was concerned about getting bike parts done and didn't really have enough help in the back. So I showed up and told Gordy I was fixing bike parts. He told me no, and I told him, yes, I am. I said, you can either tell me what you want me to do or I can just make it up myself. Just like to say that those bike parts that I hired myself to fix, I don't think I ever got paid for those. Just so if you can make a note of that.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything. You can't just wear it. I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prized jersey deserves better than the closet. Think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
All right.
The blue on the sea.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
A Dixie did she, so it down the sidewalk thing. My memory is muddy, what's this river that I'm in? New Orleans is sinking, man.
Here on the Tom Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365. Brendan Douglas, Josh Fenwick in studio with you. Hope you're doing good out there. Happy Wednesday, or as Spec likes to call it, Thursday or Friday today for a Spec. Sorry, Spec. Sorry.
Friday double junior.
Friday double junior. I see what you did
Thursdays
there.
often, I don't know about often.
Pre-Friday.
Sometimes referred to as Friday junior. So if we're Wednesday treating it like a Friday,
yeah,
it's Friday double junior.
Oh, I get it.
Friday the 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Dave Schlemko on the shelf. Hopefully back next Wednesday.
All 4 wisdom teeth.
Oh, man. And those bad boys were probably impacted. So you got to go under. That's a real surgery. I had my bottom done, the bottom 2 done, and I was awake for those. I had my dentist I was like 17 or 18. He was on my chest, like cracking those wisdom teeth, yanking all the blood squirting out. It was gnarly. And then I had one that came in a couple years later up top, and the dentist just knocked her out.
I have all 4 of mine in my mouth.
Sometimes
I hope it can remain that way, because what you just painted the picture of is not something I'm interested in.
I don't blame you.
Foregoing.
I don't blame you. But when they do get impacted, they gotta put you under, and that's like a full-on surgery. So Schlemmer on the shelf. I'm looking forward to having him in studio, working with him, and of course, Cougar Paint and Collision on board with Schlemmer. And on Wednesdays, Cougar Paint and Collision, where family, service, and pride have earned customer trust for decades. CougarCollision.com. Shout out to Gord Dick and the entire crew out at Cougar. They've done work on my vehicle. Excellent work as always, just off the Yellowhead, between 82nd and 97th. Great setup there. They are a family. It's a family operation, as anybody who's been there knows, and they'll take care of you. They'll treat you right. So glad to have them continue on, as Schlemmer will, with this show under a new name. Get that out of the way. A couple of texts to get to. I like to dip into those. If you don't know, I always encourage people to text in 1-833-401-1440. I try to get to as many as possible. Trevor asking, is Le Duc just French for the Duke? I guess yes, in a way, but not really. And we were talking about the Duke and the nickname, and that was something KK gave you. I'm good with whatever you want.
And I'm good with whatever. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Hey, now. I just call him Brandon. I've dropped Brando a couple of times. You haven't said stop.
No, and I've said this to other people too. And it just goes back to what I mentioned about like the locker room and kind of growing up playing sports, and from growing up in one place, you move somewhere else, you make new groups of friends. Like they just kind of come. Like I've went by Brando. I went by Dougie. My last name's Douglas. Kevin started calling me the Duke. You can call me whatever you want. I'll get a pretty good impression when you're talking to me based on context. I think.
Okay. That's good. People have asked about so we're calling him Brando now. I just did. And if he's all right with it, then you might hear it sprinkled in there. All right. Thank you. I have your blessing. We had a few people asking me. Somebody texted in earlier saying, Tom seems like a Dolphins fan.
What an insult.
My dear friend and co-host on Hello Hockey, Sean Bell, is a big fins up type of guy.
So is Donovan.
Dono is? Oh, okay. I am a Cardinals fan. So Montana to Rice was asking about that. I feel like we are NFC West rivals.
Yep.
I feel like the 49ers own that series and have for the majority of the links of those franchises' history. I am a stubborn Cardinals fan. Oh, yeah. So Montana to Rice, he's laughing. He said, little brother, yeah, Cardinals generally suck. I stick with them, though. Through thick and thin. Now,
what's your infatuation with Arizona? You're a D-backs guy?
Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me that you lost sleep when the Yotes picked up and moved to Utah.
Heartbroken. I'm just kidding. I didn't care. Although, funny story, when Dave Schlumko was playing for the Coyotes, I remember being in their locker room at Old Gila River Arena. I think it was still jobbing.com arena back then. And going and talking to Dave, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Because it seems like this ownership thing is dicey. And he's like, yeah, man, guys here are worried. Like, we don't know if we're going to be back here next year.
Rightfully so.
And that's right. They had every reason to be concerned. So we'll rehash stuff like that. But like many Albertans, when crap hit the fan in 2008 and the dollar was par with the American dollar in subsequent years, my parents, with their family friends, bought a house down there. So ended up spending a lot of time, Christmases, golf trips down at the family home down in Peoria, which was awesome. Wally Buono lived in that community. It was really neat. Really? Yeah. It was very nice. Like, honestly, it was I look back on it now, like super to have that. It was a blessing. It was great. And we don't have it anymore. But we still like to go down there to golf and to see friends, my parents' neighbors. They became very tight with. A lot of great Canadians down there. Not as many anymore, obviously. And a lot of great Americans down there as well. So that's where it all emanates from. Because I kind of like the Green Bay Packers because they looked like the Eskimos at the time. But that wavered. And then I got down to Arizona. I'm like, this is nice. Went to a game. Larry Fitzgerald. Carson Palmer, I think, was the quarterback at the time. It was just after Kurt Warner. And they were okay. They'd kind of be in contention to make the playoffs and a wild card spot and this and that. So I stuck with them. And then the D-backs, I just joke about. Like, I do like them, but it's super casual. That's why I always make the joke. Hop on the D-backs bandwagon if you're an embattled Jays fan. And
while you can before it gets too full.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. That's where that comes from. So Cardinals fan, you can make fun of them all you want. I'll eat it because they do suck. I am hopeful.
Are you a believer in Carson Beck?
Kind of.
Really?
But
Tom.
I don't know. But you're gonna hear like optimism and positivity and hopefulness. I like and want to see success. Do I think it's realistic? Benny, no. You are absolutely right. Do I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will probably get traded and ask for a move somewhere soon? Yup. Did I think Kyler Murray sucked? Yup. Yeah, he wasn't it. So now Dave in Section T, thank you, Dave in Section T, makes a good point. You can never go wrong wearing a Pat Tillman jersey to any game in any stadium. Mad respect to Pat Tillman. There's a great statue outside of what the hell is it called now? University of Phoenix Stadium. Or did they change it again? I think they did change it again. Anyway, that's a good point. And then the rig, I want to end it with this. I want to bookend it with this text because it comes back to Dave Schlumko being on the shelf with the wisdom teeth surgery and procedure. The rig says, I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth taken out in one sitting. It was quite good. I was in Humboldt at the time. I got a couple of days off practice. All right. The rig taking advantage of some time away from the rink and no practice. I get it. I appreciate it. All right. We got to step out. When we return, it will be Gord Stellick. We'll talk hockey with him. If you have any questions for Gord, fire those our way. 1-833-401-1440. More Gazzola Show presented by Bet365 on the way next.
You may get up early
But more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Hi, Edmonton. The legend has been reimagined. Check out the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback. With Subaru's legendary symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, impressive cargo versatility, advanced safety technology, and an IIHS Top Safety Pick Award or higher for 17 consecutive years, the Outback delivers confidence wherever adventure takes you. Whether it's the daily drive, the mountain getaway, or anything in between, the all-new Outback is built for the journey. Test drive it today at your local Subaru dealer. Welcome to Uncommon.
The Tom Gazzola Show. All gas, no brakes. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Time to talk a little hockey here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brought to you by Bet365. Cord Stellick will be joining us here. You can text us 1-833-401-1440. The Puck Report brought to you by World Rugby Nations Cup. Fresh off that 42-42 draw against Spain, Canada's men's rugby team will battle Portugal this Saturday, 7 p.m., Clark Stadium. Spain plays Tonga at 2:45. One ticket gets you both games. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. Also, a shout-out and thank you to Stephen Meehan, head coach of Canada's men's rugby team, for stopping by earlier in the show. All right, let's get to Gord Stellick, SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. I have the good fortune of going on his show from time to time. It's nice to have him on my show. It's a new show, Gord, that just started this week. So an honor and a pleasure, sir. How are you doing? How's the offseason treating you? Have you kind of let the dust settle after a crazy draft week and free agent frenzy?
Well, you know, it's still a little dusty. By the way, great to be on with you, Tom. It's still a little dusty, and it does slow down quite a bit. But, wow, we certainly had more fireworks. We always hope for it in and around the draft and free agency. And this year, as we hope for, it's been more than advertised. And certainly the Leafs and Oilers are two of the teams that have been the most active. So we still have things to talk about, much like you're finding to do on your show.
Oh, yeah. Lots. And you know how it is. The drama never ends in Canadian markets, certainly around the Maple Leafs and obviously around the Oilers. With the Leafs, Gord, really quickly, like Daniel Alfredsson joining his buddy Matt Sundin as a Maple Leaf. I know there was a statement put out by the Sens and Steve Saos and Michael Andlauer saying like he's always going to be a Sen. I was surprised, but then you understand the connection. Like, to you, how do you observe the move from Daniel Alfredsson from the Sens over to the Leafs?
Boy, really surprised. You know, I mean, we don't know the inner workings, and I'm good friends with a guy named Jim Poblinski, who played for the Calgary Flames, and he talked about the Battle of Alberta days, and he said, man, oh man, like he goes, you felt weird just when you went to Edmonton city limits, right? There was that rivalry, and then I'm trying to remember if it was Doug Reisberg or somebody got hired when that was kind of a breakthrough by the other organization. And, you know, Alfredsson, first of all, tough offseason for the Ottawa Senators, even though I'm not saying it should be gloom and doom, but, Brady Tkachuk, I think they recognized they had to address this, the podcast and other stuff. Like, let's get to the root of this. And I think, it's disappointing, but they were good to be proactive. This one, I don't know what an assistant coach means, at the end of the day in wins and losses, but he's the iconic guy, that'd been kind of a fractured breakup. They welcomed him back, and certainly Michael Andlauer had a classy release on behalf of the Senators. So, so if you're a fan, you're disappointed. I don't know, did he not fit in with Travis Green? He's an associate coach, which is a move up. Was it a pay boost? I don't know. Someone suggested his kid plays hockey in and around Toronto, but I mean, he's going to be tied up with games. So that was an interesting one. And really, Alfredson, Tom, all those years, those great battles between the Battle of Ontario, like the Battle of Alberta then, and like the Leafs had been these 9 years before last year, great regular season, disappointing playoffs. That was Alfredson's Ottawa team all those years ago, and it was usually Matt Sundin's Toronto Maple Leafs that were the underdogs that eliminated them 4 to 5 years. So it's kind of a interesting twist.
You know what, Gord? That reference in regard to like Jim Poplinski coming into Edmonton City Limits. I know those Battle of Albertas were crazy, and Poplinski was in the middle of those. But this move kind of reminds me of Grant Fuhr winding down his NHL career as a Calgary Flame. It was just bizarre.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's anyway. So really, of all the moves, whether it's the Oilers, but let's say the Leafs here with all the player moves, I think this one's going to be the least impactful. That's no disrespect to Daniel Alfredson. It's all the other moving pieces. How do they play out when they finally hit the ice?
Okay, I know as a former executive, and obviously you've covered the league for a long time as well, but the way things have evolved and the way offer sheets are kind of taking on a whole different, they've become a whole new beast. I know we've seen it in recent years, obviously here in Edmonton with Broberg and Holloway, and that's obviously sticking point still as it should be. But like Barrett Hayton, we're talking about today a little bit. We're waiting on the Leo Carlson stuff. How have you observed the way that the offer sheets are being weaponized more so now?
Never understood why they weren't. It's in the collective bargaining agreement. There was a sense that you didn't want to piss off an opponent, another general manager, but it's in the collective bargaining agreement. It's a mechanism you can use. Keep your draft picks, keep in a good salary cap position, and then you can use it on the offensive, like Doug Armstrong did with Edmonton, and then in this big way that Danny Briere is doing with Anaheim. So I know that fans like action. Mm-hmm. Fans try to find these things sexy, for want of a better word. And this is a doozy. This one is a doozy. I expected there was going to be something, and I initially was disappointed that there hadn't been. And I didn't know who the player was going to be, and it's going to be interesting if, like Elliot Friedman reports behind the scenes, that Carlson wanted to cut a deal. Anaheim wasn't going to go more than 12.5. He would have taken 15, and they kind of said, we're going to call your bluff. Well, bluff called, and it wasn't a bluff. So I'm intrigued to see the next phases of this and where it all goes.
The dynamic of, some people call it like an old boys club of the NHL GMs. Now there's 32 of them. And maybe there's cliques and guys that kind of work with one another and are buddy with one another. But to rock the boat this way, will it put Danny Briere and will Sonny Maeda maybe be looked at a different way by certain factions of the old boys club, if it even exists in your mind?
Yeah, it's funny. There was a really good one about, Glenn Sather and Harry Sinden, who played together in Boston. Edmonton used to make a lot of trades, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't ones that hurt each team, right? Generally, they strengthen it. But yeah, there's no old boys club anymore. It's, like Danny. So I guess you can use, if you're a restricted free agent and you go to salary arbitration, you can use other restricted free agent salaries as a comparable. So if it comes to that, maybe that's problematic. Obviously, agents are stepping it up, using it as a precedent, and that's up to general managers how they negotiate successfully or whatever in this regard. So, yeah, he's rocked the boat, but generally people that rock the boat, I mean, Tom Dundon did it in Carolina. Jerry Jones did it with the Dallas Cowboys. Mark Cuban did it when he came in the NBA. There's been positivity rather than just being status quo and being a choir boy or choir girl.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I like the craziness, so I'm all here for it, and bring it on, man. I can't wait to find out how all of this unfolds. We're joined by Gord Stellick, SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, talking a little bit of hockey, and we had Spec on earlier, and I know this time of year is where the lights start to go dark in NHL front offices. But like you said, the dust is still sort of settling. How do you foresee like the next week or two playing out? Are we going to see some late free agent signings? Will there be a trade or two before things really go quiet and everyone ducks off into Kelowna and cottage country and in Muskoka and wherever else they go in the off season?
So it is quite often the kind of the bargain basement that you can get free agents that are left. I think last year Jack Rosselvik signed quite late with Edmonton. You know, he didn't get what he thought or hoped for. So you got a number of those scenarios right now. I mean, so you're going to get, you know, what the latest version of an Anthony Mantha. Where does Patrick Kane want to go? What's the deal with Patrick Laine? Like, he seems to have so much potential, but yet Montreal really didn't try to get him back in the lineup. So those other pieces are there. I don't think any of them have the wow factor right now. I really thought it was a very nice piece of business that Edmonton did with Darnell Nurse. I you know, in so many ways. So does Toronto get that done with Morgan Riley? What ends up with Dylan Larkin? What ends up with Connor Hellebuck? So there's way more of those intriguing scenarios out there than I can remember. So yeah. There's going to be the activity, and, you know, we don't know when. Like, you know, we've been waking up till July 1st and just a whack of things to catch up on each day like you do. And now you never know when it hits, and, you know, it gives you something to chew on and digest and talk about.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe this time of year in the hockey world. Okay, this is my curiosity with your experience and your time in Toronto and covering the Leafs and being around it. It's been fun to watch from out here, just like all the Pelly press conferences, the stuff with Chayka, obviously Steve Simmons. A good friend of mine was on the PR staff with the Coyotes and told the story of Chayka's the way he left with Arizona and how that was received. What do you make of how Toronto has gone about its offseason? And obviously getting the first overall pick is massive, but your takeaways from what we've seen from the Maple Leafs organization.
Well, you know, I'll always be optimistic, but you know, the proof will be in the pudding when they hit the ice. They had to do things. There's no question they had to do things, right? You know, after last year, and you know the press conferences, were kind of, you know, a little bizarro world both times, and you know, Chayka came with a lot of baggage that he never really answered the question, what happened to those draft picks that Arizona lost. It was just accepted that, they were a screwed up ownership and that's what happened. So, you know, I found that there were some things that could have been addressed. You know, Steve's statement kind of was a shocker the way he phrased it, but hey, everyone's got stories, whatever, about people, about how they got treated, what they feel. So he got the job. I'm puzzled when Keith Pelly thanked Neil Glassberg, which is fine, but coordinating a GM search, which, I mean, John Chayka's right there. I mean, where are you searching? It's like finding me. Okay. It's not that hard. So I'm always leery when people try to sound smarter, or organizations do. So, hey, he got the job. He deserves the shot. And like any new GM or coach, I wish them all the best. And I know they're not, again, I'm using that word, sexy hires. It was thinking, maybe Doug Armstrong would have one more kick at, want to do this. But my understanding was, you know, a corporate way, after going from Dubas to Treliving, you know, the Rogers ownership, they didn't want an old boy network. You know, they wanted something different, and they got something different.
Great point about, people or organizations think they're smarter than everyone else. We've seen it in and around these parts at times. So I think that hits it right on the head. But time will tell. Proof will be in the pudding. Like you said, when they hit the ice, we'll know for sure. Gord, this has been awesome. It's always great to chat with you. Thank you so much. If I don't talk to you before the start of the hockey season, have a great summer.
Appreciate it, Tom. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Gord Stellick, Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Obviously, he was the youngest GM in NHL history in the late 80s with the Maple Leafs, and then has been covering the league and in and around hockey forever. And just great to pick his brain. So thank you, Brandon, for getting him on, because he's fantastic. When I saw that online, I was like, yes, Gord. Good stuff there. Okay, a text I want to get to via the text line, 1-833-401-1440, comes in from Matt in Leduc. And boys, jump in on this if you want. He says, Flames fans were nervous when Grant Fuhr and Steve Smith wound up in Calgary together. And I think Steve Smith ended up being the captain of the Flames.
That sounds correct.
Great guys, by the way. Both.
Unreal. I mean, Furzy was one of our co-hosts for the first hockey season we were on the air, coming in every week from down in the desert.
Yeah.
Palm Desert or Palm Springs. One of those places.
Yeah, he's in Palm Springs, Palm Desert area. It's same thing.
Okay,
and
I'll take your word that those are the same places. Playing golf, his primary focus, and doing obviously his work with the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
He's quite good at golf and has been for a while.
And it's funny it comes up because this week is the Century Classic down in Lake Tahoe, which I believe Grant has played in a number of times.
Which is cool. Yeah, he's very easygoing guy. Steve Smith, very classy guy. Very, very classy guy. And he was the captain of the Flames. And, that was a great reference point. I like how Gord brought up Jim Poplinski. And I if you read Speck's book about the battle, or you go back and watch like the clips, like that was something else. Calgary and Edmonton back in the day when they were two of the top teams in the Smythe division. And Steve and Grant ended up in Calgary. It was like 99-2000 was the season. And Steve Smith was the captain. And Bill Ranford had returned to the Oilers for one last year. And he was the backup to Tommy Salo. And I remember the last game, I believe it was before the Oilers bowed out pretty quickly to the Dallas Stars in the playoffs. But the Flames, I don't think, made it that year. And it was Edmonton-Calgary, the last game at the Saddle Dome. And Bill Ranford was hurt, but it was Grant Fuhr's last game. I believe Edmonton won that game. And then they showed on the broadcast Bill Ranford in his suit down at the bench congratulating Grant Fuhr. It was a really cool moment. But it was just so weird to see Grant Fuhr in a Flames jersey. But that's how it ended. So there we go. Tidbit. You know what? I'm full of useless tidbits. Maybe that becomes a thing.
I don't think that's useless. That's a great story.
Susanna Hoffs yesterday.
Yeah, okay. There's a little bit more of an interesting angle.
Willa Ford and Mike Modano the other day.
Yes.
How about that?
I'm soaking this all in. This is all pertinent information.
Yeah, I remember weird crap like that, so I apologize. But, we do what we do. We entertain. We try to get you going on your day. Hopefully make it a little bit of an easier start to your day. Okay. Great stuff there from Gord Stellick. Of course, that was the Puck Report brought to you by World Rugby Nations Cup. We're going to wrap things up in the next segment here on the Gazzola Show, presented by Bet365.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Support your bones so you can stay active this summer. For the month of July, all CanPrev brand magnesium and collagen supplements are 15% off regular price. Only at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior camps. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Hey Canada. Wednesday, July 15th is Tim's Camp Day. When you buy a hot or iced coffee, you help build a better future for Canadian youth. Every cup counts. At participating restaurants in Canada.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Oh, yeah. Final segment of the Tom Gazzola Show with Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick in studio as well. It's been fun. Good first week so far. Thank you for being here along for the ride, whether you're on the dial on AM, 1440, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, any other platform. Maybe you're listening on podcasts later in the day. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate the feedback. So much positivity, good stuff. And hopefully you're enjoying it. This is, I look at morning shows, boys, as like people are starting their day and you want to give them a bit of a break from the doldrums. Maybe they're going in and they know a crappy day's coming up. Maybe you make it take their mind off of things a little bit. Give them something to chew on in their mind, or a debate sparks them, and it just kind of takes away a little bit from the crappiness of maybe a boring Wednesday. I don't know, something to that effect. But just we're along for the ride with you, maybe entertaining you, making you think in a good way. I'm happy to do that. So appreciate everybody that has texted in and reached out and stuff like that with all the kind words. It's awesome. Maybe you don't like me or my opinions, and that's fine too. That's fine. Maybe you like arguing. I'm not a big guy that gets into arguments, but guess what? I'm just glad you're listening or tuning in or participating in the action. Of course, this show brought to you by Bet365. Appreciate them coming on board and great to partner up with them here on the Gazzola Show. Also, what are you giggling about, Fenny? Every time you giggle, I get in here.
So MTR is texting in, and I will say this right now, it's false. But MTR texted in, Tommy, has Duke mentioned he thinks he can get a base hit off Scooble if he had 100
Okay.
at-bats?
Okay, what's going? I feel like this goes back to something.
Yeah, this is.
Tell me.
One time when I was sitting in for Kevin, Donovan had a question about being able to get a hit, like compared to, getting a first down in the NFL or, so, like competing at a pro level.
Yes.
And I essentially said, like, if you gave me 100 at-bats, I could get a base hit. And I did not say it was off Tarek Skubal. I did not say off anyone in particular.
Okay.
I just said in an MLB game. Let's, keep it simple and, without having to pull the exact audio file. But that got a lot of blowback.
You think?
But my point, Tom, is 100 at-bats is a lot of at-bats.
True.
I have played baseball competitively. I'm not trying to like blow my own smoke that I'm great. I'm not. I played competitively through my youth and then continue to play recreationally as an adult, slow pitch and stuff. But I played men's men's fastball, all these things. So I am a competent baseball player. I can swing bats, all these. It's not like I'm just going in, have never done before. Like ask me to go in and, throw spiral a rugby ball down at the Clark this Saturday.
Mhm.
I would have no sniff. I don't know how to do it. I've never done it.
Okay.
I know how to play baseball. So in 100 at-bats, you know how many pitches that is?
A lot, like
At
100.
least 300. That's 300 swings,
It's
Duke.
that minimum. Yeah, but I don't got to swing 300 times. We're
at-bats,
not.
Sorry.
We've gotten into this so many times. Frankly, I'm sick of it because it's got twisted where even Gregor came on here one day when he was on with Carius and Eddie. I was like, yeah, I heard Brandon said he thinks he can, with 100 pitches, get a base hit. I'm like, well, that's not for what I said. And there were some plans in the works to coordinate with the Riverhawks, go down and see if I could get a little action in against some of their guys. But unfortunately, suffering the knee injury early in the summer put a pretty good kibosh on that. I'm not at 100%. I can't go out there and do it half-heartedly, half-assed.
Some of those kids throw smoke.
Dude, the opening day pitcher for the Riverhawks, he was in the low to mid 90s through like 5 innings of work.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're great pitchers. So I would love to get the chance to go and do something like that, take some BP against those guys. I'm just saying in 100 at-bats. So that's a minimum 300 pitches that guy has to throw me. I can outweight him.
I get that rationale. With a fresh arm for all 100 at-bats,
then it's a different story. But that wasn't the context.
Fair. I get it. I'm learning these things. It's my first week on the job, if you will. So anytime I see Fenny laughing, because I can see him, like Brandon, I can see your eyes when I peek above the monitors you got the controls in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see
you get a direct
you have
line
a direct face shot of me.
And I want to read off of him, and he giggles and smirks.
So then you're
getting to know him.
Naturally inclined, and I think it's just human nature. Maybe you're a little more confident than I am when I'm in that chair. You see him giggling about something, you're like, what's that? Is there like, I'm on camera, is there like a giant booger hanging out of my nose or something?
I hope not.
Or whatever.
No.
I naturally think something's wrong and they're laughing at me, not with me, when it's him and Donovan sitting over here and their little giggles.
It's all those things. Maybe I just saw something funny on Twitter and it's not
exactly
important.
It's all possible.
But I am a very expressive person with my face.
But when the host is in the middle of a read or a thought or something, and then they just like glance over here and they see you,
I'm aware.
I'll get used to it. I'll get used to it.
You won't.
No? Okay. I'll try to.
I'll do my best to be less expressive.
No.
I don't have to. But yeah, I do my best not to distract.
I'm not gonna lie. It piques my curiosity.
Hey. Be curious,
Thank
not
you.
judgmental.
I appreciate that. We do have some news to report. Barrett Hayton has re-upped, or the Mammoth have matched the offer sheet from the Devils. So that takes away some of the drama. $4.78 million, 1-year deal. He stays in Utah. The Mammoth boys are putting together something solid, it seems like. A team that I feel like in the hockey world we're talking about more, and for good reasons. Because the Coyotes, for a lack of a better term, were a desert wasteland in hockey, unfortunately. But Ryan Smith and his wife and it's Bill Armstrong down there. Andre Tourigny has been the go-to guy.
Re-upped, too.
Re-up.
Tourigny has been,
Yeah.
so.
They're building something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like literally and physically, they're redoing the arena right now again. So good for Hayton to get, the interest from the Devils. Maeda trying to mix it up a little bit in his first go as GM early in his tenure with the Devils, but the Mammoths say no mas. So they kibosh that, and now we await Leo Carlson and the decision. Anything else? Yeah, how are you doing with that?
I just keep getting more texts from people I know. Like I've started to put we got a big slow pitch tournament coming up in August here. No, Elnora.
Okay.
It goes in tandem with the famous Elnora Brahmarama same weekend. So it's a very large to do in my neck of the woods.
Okay.
So I'm confirming with my usual cast of characters. Are you guys available? Are you free? Is your wife able to play? All the usual run of the mill stuff.
Yes.
And in the process of reaching out to these people that I usually don't talk to super frequently or regularly, the immediate follow-up after they tell me if they can play or not is, oh, how do you feel about the Leo Carlson thing? And I just think like, I don't want to talk about it.
Just another.
I talk about it enough in here. I don't need to take up my leisure time by getting worked up about it. I'll get worked up in here every day of the week. I don't care.
Good.
It's part of the gig.
Yeah.
But not at my leisure time, Tom. I'm out trying to enjoy a beautiful walk and a rare afternoon of sunshine, taking in the greenery. The water levels have receded in the stormwater collection ponds.
Good.
That I can actually use the sidewalks.
Good.
I'm just trying to relish the opportunity.
I respect this very much. You know what? Whatever makes you tick and makes you happy, I support.
Thank you.
And if it's a pleasant walk surrounded by sunshine,
got to get a little sun. I'm out there with no lid on. I got a little color on this head. I've got some more weddings later this year.
Oh, good.
Gotta be looking my best.
I like it. I respect it very, very much. A couple of texts here as we wind things down. Lee chiming in says, boys, if a one-armed Jim Abbott can get 2 hits in only 21 at-bats, then yes, it is possible for someone to get a hit in 100 at-bats. And in Duke's case, or Brandon's, someone who's played baseball.
Yeah, I'm not going in blind.
No.
I have an understanding.
With both hands as well.
Right.
Jim
now,
Abbott
not both knees. At this point, it'd be with no knees. But I don't need to run the bases.
That's not the name of the game in this case.
Like, will it matter if I can beat like, if it's like, who's scoring it? Because if I get a little dribbler or something, it's come hard over the top and pound it right into the front of the plate, essentially, and I need to beat the throw to first base, will it be scored an infield hit or might they score an error?
Okay, now we're getting into the minutia of it. The
Exactly.
technicalities,
It's all very and because no matter what would happen, if we actually execute this, people would doubt me and question it.
Of course. They'll doubt any of us, no matter what.
100%.
It's instinct.
100%.
Slurpy Sean says, what I'm hearing is Brandon thinks he can play in the bigs. There you go.
That's essentially how this whole situation has progressed, where it started with saying something that I didn't think was that outlandish to now. And then it's kind of Dave from Stoney. I assume this is pretty tongue in cheek. So you're saying you could get 100 hits against a major league pitcher. Guess a game of telephone essentially is what we're playing here.
Chris D chiming in says you have to get on base.
Well, yeah, I'd have to get on base,
Yeah.
but if I'm have to actually sprint down the line, I can still run. Right now, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, I've been playing ball and hockey and stuff without an ACL in my other knee for the past 3 years. I'm confident I could sprint down the line once recovered a little bit more. It's just a matter of how it would be scored.
Get a knee brace on there.
Yeah, I'm going to have a slow pitch tonight, Tom. Back in action.
Where are we playing?
Argyle Park. Funnily, returning to the scene of the crime, the same diamond where I incurred my incident back in the second week of May.
Penny just burst laughing.
It's like the
Okay.
the worst part. It's like the nicest diamond we play on too in this rec league slow pitch.
Yeah,
it's the only one we play on with a fence.
Oh,
All
I
these
love
things,
that.
and this is the one that I just like step wrong and have my entire leg do the wave.
No. You know what? There are some great slow pitch facilities out there. I've heard Sherwood Park. Actually, I played out at Sherwood Parks. It was good. Really liked it. I played with my buddies at Meadowview in St. Albert for a number of years. Slow pitch is fun, man. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, if you got a bad knee,
be careful.
Be very careful.
I'll have the brace on.
Greater Man Jay says, I'm a gambler. My money is on the Duke. Maybe we get that up at Bet365. Hey, that's going to do it. Show number 3 in the books. Wonderful. Feels like we're finding our pace here, and it's a good thing that's brewing. A lot of fun with Josh Fenwick and Brandon Douglas. Big thank you to all of our guests today. You just heard from Gord Stellick earlier in the hour. He was awesome as always. Of course, Mark Spector, Daily, Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times, Michael Grange, Sportsnet, and Stephen Meehan, head coach of Canada men's rugby team. They get going on Saturday at 7 p.m. If you want to check them out down at Clark Stadium, ticketmaster.ca to get your tickets over there. That's a 2-for-1. You get 2 games in one day. All right. Bet365. Big thank you to them. We've got a sports update coming up with Brandon, brought to you by Sean Cunningham, Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. That's going to do it. Have a great day, everyone. Here's Brendan.
The Sports 1440 update.
First offer sheet of the summer in the NHL has been matched. The Utah Mammoth coming to terms on the 1-year, $4.775 million sheet tendered to center Barrett Hayton by the New Jersey Devils last week. As a result, the Mammoth are unable to trade Barrett Hayton for the next calendar year. Another full slate of games in the majors today, including the Blue Jays wrapping up their set in San Fran against the Giants. First pitch coming, 1:45 Mountain. A pair of All-Stars on the hill as Dylan Cease will go for Toronto, while Logan Webb counters for the Giants. Elsewhere, Cubbies are in Baltimore. Tigers up against the Athletics. The Yankees continue their set in Tampa against the Rays. Seattle playing Miami. Red Sox on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. And in the nightcap, the San Diego Padres hosting Arizona. Edmonton Riverhawks continue their series at home tonight, 7:05. First pitch from Remax Field against Nanaimo. And from the CFL, Hamilton Tiger Cats signing American quarterback Jarrett Daig to join their QB room following the injury and subsequent surgery to the ankle of Bo Levi Mitchell. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with guest host Declan Kruger. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and